Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 50 of the Drew Pavlou Show. Today, I'm going to be covering the major Russian cope that we are watching across the world right now. They are crying they're crying and struggling very hard with the recent attacks against the Russian strategic bomber fleet in Russia. We've got a great show today to discuss this. We'll have a lot to discuss when it comes to the tankies and all the cope of the people like George Kellaway and all these sorts of things. I see a comment by Tom Foes. Howdy. Hello, Tom Foes. We'll give people a minute or two to join up. I want to thank everybody who's been tuning into the streams. Yesterday was actually my biggest stream ever. And today we have reached 50 live streams. 50 live streams, I think, in 49 days. So I'm very proud. I'm very happy. They said it couldn't be done. People didn't believe me when I said I'd do a 100-day challenge. But we're here, 50 days in. We're halfway through. And it's been good fun. I've enjoyed the live streaming journey. It's been good fun. I'm just going to give things a minute, guys. I'm just going to post a link. What an incredible day and the incredible week that we've seen as well. I am wondering. I'm wondering how people feel at the moment. I'll put this on the screen 1 second. I've got some great memes to share with the world. What's funny is actual Russians aren't coping; they're despairing. Yeah, well, look, the ones who understand the actual situation of the war effort in Russia, in Ukraine, they're struggling. The ones who understand the war effort in Russia, the ones who understand what is really happening in Ukraine, they're struggling right now. And it's such a beautiful thing because for all our friends in the multipolar cope movement, they're going to be very upset right now. They're going to be very upset. Our friends in the multicultural cope world, the multipolar cope world, Jackson Hinkles of the world, they're coping very hard right now. I know that it's going to be a struggle for them. I think we've got 9 people watching live on YouTube and 100 on Twitter. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, please leave a like. And if you're watching on Twitter, I encourage you to go across to my YouTube. That's where we're really trying to build up the numbers. Leave a like on the video. YouTube will then recommend us to more people in the algorithm. I might start maybe with our weekly Ethno Guesser game, but our daily Ethno Guesser game, but I'll wait for some more people to join. I see that we've got 5 likes on the YouTube video. Thank you so much, guys. Please leave a like on the YouTube video, and YouTube will recommend us to more people. I think we've got 10 people in the YouTube live stream now. We had 100 at one point yesterday, which was the best we've ever done. So hopefully we can build up the audience a bit further. Con Melanitis, he says, sup, Drew. Nice to see you, Con. You've always been a very top viewer, so I appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you so much. Beautiful day today. Beautiful week. So much to cover, and we'll get into it today. Yesterday was extremely successful stream. We were covering the bombing raids live, and I believe it was actually I think it was actually live even before the mainstream media got to it. BBC, for example. Con says it's nice to find someone with a similar perspective on the world. Good stuff, mate. Thank you, mate. We are really we're really trying to build up a small community here. It's good fun. Big news, my country is only drone Ukraine. That's a comment from Daniel, and then I've got a comment from Dave the Trousers. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is an interesting comment. Graham Campbell in 2009. Paulina Henson set back the national movement 30 years. No one will ever get the opportunity she had. Interesting. Greetings from Virginia. Thank you, WFC champ. It's great to have some people from America viewing. We've got 16 people now in the live stream. Some more people are joining. Please leave a like, guys. Please leave a like. It'd be great. If you leave a like, YouTube will recommend us to more people. So I'm looking now. We've got 8 likes on the live stream. So I'd really appreciate if you guys can leave a like. YouTube recommends us to more people when we have more likes on the live stream. I think. How are you doing today, Drew? Look very good. I streamed earlier today with Lindy Man. That was a very interesting stream. I'm going to upload that as a podcast. I'm going to comment here. Hey, Drew from Captain Bucket. Hello, Captain Bucket. Thanks for tuning in. About to leave for work. Thank you, WC. Thank you, man. Just please leave a like on the stream. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Hi, Drew. Is Tracing Wood Grains coming? Yes, this week, but I haven't found the exact date yet. What are the Russians coping about today? There's a lot of cope today. There's a lot of cope, and we'll get into it. How can I send a link? If you just post the link in the comments on YouTube, I can send it Tom first, and I can put it on the screen. I got a question. Did Destiny reply? I actually did get a reply from Destiny. He said, "Lamayo, fuck Milo." So I don't think he wants to debate Milo on the Drew Pavler show, which is funny. Lindy Man, aka Block Everyone Man. We like Lindy Man. He's funny. He's a very funny bloke. Guys, incredible footage. Incredible footage. Literally like a 4-hour drive. How will the negotiations work now with this strike? That's a question by Fight Sport Talk. Listen, I don't necessarily have high hopes for the negotiations either way, because I think Russia hasn't been taking them that serious. So it's very difficult. When I comment the link, it doesn't show up. Can I send it in the Discord and tag you? Yeah, sure. Send it in the Discord, tag me. I'll try to put it on the screen. Thank you. I got a comment from Daniel. I addicted to X Twitter so much. Yeah, no, we love X Twitter. It's a great place. It's very interesting news today. Dorinda Cox defected from the Australian Greens to the Australian Labor Party. They're Indigenous senator from Western Australia, and this is pretty bad news for the Greens. They're now reduced to 10 senators. So they've gone from 12 to 10, I believe, as a result of 2 defections. Did you see Hunter Ash glazing you? Yeah, Hunter Ash is a nice bloke. We like Hunter Ash. Guys, I really need the $1 million investment so that we can take Drew Pavler Enterprises Media Solutions to the next level, because at the moment, we're streaming and it's a slow road. If I could get a nicer camera, I think things could go a lot better. Okay, I've got the link up, I think. Let me bring it up. Hey, Drew, you are to me what Bert Barlow was to Homer Simpson. Thank you, Pickles LeBlanc. Very interesting comment. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm not sure what it means, but it's fascinating nonetheless. So this is what I've been asked. Contrast all the Western Russophiles with what actual Russians are saying about the situation. The difference in tone is staggering. Okay, let's see this. Interesting. Oh, yeah. So Aiden is going, this is Ukraine's big show. They're expending 6 to 12 months of intelligence sabotage operation planning right before negotiations. Ukrainian jihad, it's not worth it, blah, blah. And then this is like an actual Russian. Yes, if we were really at war with NATO without nuclear weapons, we would be blown to smithereens in a few hours, considering how easily, and they use this as a slur against the Ukrainians. They say Hokovs, knock down strategic bombers. There's nothing to say about the other planes then. Dude, the actual Russians are fucking crying. And we've seen some incredible cope. We've seen incredible scope. Cope for over a decade. I've outlined the exact scenario as we just saw in Russia. It could happen in the US tomorrow. This was a pivotal event. US military and political leadership cannot live in partial denial of this threat anymore. Our most prized aircraft are sitting ducks. Yeah, true. That's interesting. Very interesting. I focused on this issue above all else in my career. I care deeply about it. The failure of the DoD to foresee what was totally foreseeable with obsessions with yesterday's threats is such a failure. We need to educate our non-military leaders on what this is. A huge issue as well. See New Jersey. So much work to be done. Hardened aircraft shelters is still being debated in the Pacific. Yeah, dude. Without hardened aircraft shelters in the Pacific, China will run riot over a lot of the Western bases in the Pacific. So that is something of the most, like one of the most pressing priorities right now. The biggest challenge with this issue is education. Many just don't take the time to learn the ins and outs of the UAS threat. There are many layers and nuances, emerging technologies. There are high-up people in the military that don't even really understand the basics. Then really terrible assumptions fill the gaps. Our pilots, our troops, our generals, our local officials need a crash course on all this now. We have produced hundreds of articles on this issue and those surrounding it, many hundreds, but some critical reading that pulls from a lot of it. Adversary drones are spying on the US and the Pentagon. Yeah, wow. Another Virginian here. Ukraine just fin-domed Russia Greenwald style. Beautiful comment. Thank you for that comment, Keith. Very great comment. I respect that comment a great deal. Great comment. A lot of people are saying that Glenn Greenwald is struggling right now. When Russia invaded Ukraine initially, they ran out of fuel 10 miles in. How would they even stand a chance against the entirety of NATO? Lamayo? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of incompetence in the Russian military. Western hegemony and joy. Pretty sure Taiwan has a ton of hardened airfields. Yeah, dude. But what I'm talking about is the American bases in the Pacific, like Guam and stuff like that. They do not have they do not have hardened airfields across a lot of American bases in the Pacific, and that's going to be a huge problem if there is a Taiwan contingency. John Mearsheimer, you see, destroying nuclear capabilities of our adversary at 3% of Pentagon budget is actually bad. Russia should nuke Kiev to maintain balance of power. that is basically the Mearsheimer approach. Did you see Kostamaris' take on this? I'll find it. I'll never forgive you for assaulting my eyes with that image of Greenwall. It was a horrible image. I still wake up with nightmares over it. It was horrible, guys. Kostamaris had a truly silly take on the Australian census. I know. What census thing are you talking about, Pickles LeBlanc? Taiwan is basically an American base in the Pacific. There are no actual Americans stationed in Taiwan. No, Mearsheimer didn't take that. It's satire. Mearsheimer didn't actually say that. It's satire. The gloves roll. The most gloves worn on one hand simultaneously is 169 achieved by Putin in Moscow. That's a good meme. The gloves are off. Also, I've changed my profile picture to reflect the vibe I'm bringing to the chat. Thank you. I do like your new profile picture, Pickles LeBlanc. That's a great comment. The green berets in Kinmenju. I'm pretty sure that there is not an extensive US presence in Taiwan, but I think that China actually has that as one of its non-negotiables. They basically say that if there are American bases, they will bomb Taiwan. Rapper 50 sent that he will reach out to Trump to discourage any possibility of a Diddy pardon. That's a great tweet. That's great. That's it. Sending 10 new bike units into landmines for 0.001% gains. There are a few hundred instructors. Drew Pavlov, that's officially at least. My grandfather was deployed to Taiwan secretly as a cryptographer after Korea and before Vietnam. I'm sure that kind of stuff is still happening. Listen, that was happening in the first couple decades. I'm pretty sure that America formally withdrew from Taiwan after recognition was moved over to China. 50 Cent was one of the good ones. Yeah, Frogmen have been Kimmen and Matsu for years. I believe there are 500 trainers in Taiwan quietly. Yeah, maybe trainers, but there are like, you're right, there are some trainers, but it's not like an extensive, American basing presence. Day 1194 of the 3-day special military operation. The real war. This is what I'm talking about, guys. The cope is amazing. Breaking. The real war has begun now. The day has come when the entire West will pay the price. Have we paid the price yet? Has anybody been able to ascertain whether the real war has begun over the past 24 hours? I love the Russian cope. We love the Russian cope, guys. Such funny cope. Drew Squad Unite. Thank you, Ole. Guys, if you're watching the stream on YouTube, I'd really appreciate if you can leave a like. I think we've got, how many likes have we got on the stream right now? We've got 14 likes on the stream with 24 viewers. If you guys can leave a like, I'd really appreciate it. YouTube will recommend us in the algorithm to more people if we can get a couple more likes on the video. So I'd appreciate that a great deal, guys. Russia may actually declare all-out war on Ukraine now, guys. Yeah, I hear that Russia could even invade now. Would you believe it? I hear Russia could even invade. It's a very scary prospect for Ukraine. I'm really worried that in light of these bombing attacks on the Russian nuclear bombing fleet, I'm really worried that Russia might invade Ukraine. Putin's going to press the second army button now. Yes, so true. The second army is going to materialize out of the ether. Beautiful stuff. I saw someone put a poll and it's like, I like the stream, then I like the stream plus drone strike videos. You should do that. Beautiful. I love that. How do I don't know how to do polling, but I'll try to figure it out. But please, we all do agree. I think there's a widespread consensus among the Drew community. There's a big consensus that Phidias should potentially be drone striked in Minecraft as a sort of in a hypothetical manner. I wonder how organized crime will change after the Russia-Ukraine war. Gee, Russian society. Let me put up this analysis, which is. This has been described as a bold attack. What's your reaction to it?
Well, Gemma, I think the word audacious and bold is entirely justified in this case. We've known about this notion of, let's call it in inverted commas, attack in a box, meaning that concealing weapons like drones in shipping containers and pre-positioning them forward potentially into a region of conflict is something we've had our eye on.
I disavow any political violence. Well said. They've already emptied out the jails. Maybe now empty out the mental asylums and the old people's homes. Yeah, dude, it's actually like the way that they're just burning through the Russian population is sick. Explain this operation in Glenn Greenwald fetish terms. Actually, that's great. That's a great tweet opportunity. 1 second, I'm going to bring that up, guys. Let me bring that up. Did they use Starlink? No, apparently they used Russian telecommunications architecture, which is amazing. Ukraine's attack in Glenn Greenwald fetish terms. The foot is in the mouth and Glenn is about to transfer 3,500 USD in PayPal FinDom payments. That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent. Describing the attack in Glenn Greenwald fetish terms. You went in Ukraine during Cyclone Alfred, weren't you? No, when Cyclone Alfred hit Brisbane, I was in Ukraine actually. Yeah, right. Great comment by Max. Russia got dominated, but like Glenn Greenwald. I haven't seen domination. I haven't seen domination like this since Glenn Greenwald's. That's a great one. That's a great one. Yep, great comment by Max. Read the Ukraine drone attack. I haven't seen domination like this since Glenn Greenwald's recent fetish video. Very powerful stuff. Let me get up the ABC News report.
This has been described as a bold attack. What's your reaction?
I love how talented Drew is in random shit posting. This is my great skill. The shit posting is my great skill, you see. And by the way, guys, we've got 34 people watching live now. Thank you. That's a great number. I'm glad that some people have come back from the stream yesterday. Guys, if you're watching the stream, please leave a like. Leave a like and YouTube will recommend us to more people. We've got 18 likes on the stream. So if you guys can leave a like on the stream, I'd really appreciate it, guys. It would help us reach more people. And we've got, I think, 34 people watching live now on YouTube. Hopefully we can build that number. Sure, I think we should move on from the Greenwald sex tape. I'd rather move on and not think about it again in my life. True, that's a good point. I wonder what Judge Neapolitano is saying. Drew, what do you think about Russia's nuclear arsenal? I mean, this is a big setback for them. Let's watch this ABC report. Let's watch this.
Audacity of this attack in these so-called kit homes, infiltrated specifically up to 4,000 kilometres, and of course, command and controlled through satellites back to a central command headquarters. I think there's specific timing in relation to the peace talks is not an accident. So this is an audacious attack. We use the term asymmetric attack, Gemma, when...
I'm going to put on the CNN one, actually, guys. And thank you, guys. We've got 36 people in the stream. If you can leave a like, I'd really appreciate it, guys. Please leave a like on the video, and YouTube will recommend us to more people. Leave a like on the stream and subscribe as well. We're almost at 8,600 subscribers.
Carried out large-scale drone attacks on multiple air bases, including some...
Great comment by just the Dutch guy. Look at all the peaceniks nearly salivating at mentioning revenge and nukes. Tells you all. Yeah, they're coping so hard, dude. They know that Russia's only card in its arsenal now is basically nukes.
Thousands of miles inside Russia.
Russia just can't win this war conventionally.
It says Operation Spiderweb caused $7 billion in damage.
$7 billion in damage.
A Ukrainian military source said multiple combat planes were destroyed in the attack. Russia has confirmed there was an attack, but is giving few details. CNN's Sebastian Shukla is following the developments for us. Sebastian, what are you learning about this attack?
Yeah, Fred, this is a really audacious attack which has been carried out by Ukraine's intelligence services known as the SBU. And it appears on Sunday they launched from multiple places inside Russia. The key here being inside Russia.
Inside Russia, using Russian telecommunications architecture, which is crazy.
Attacks on Russian air bases housing strategic military aircraft, things that would go into the sky for surveillance and monitoring purposes and reconnaissance intelligence above the skies of Russia and over Ukraine to gather intelligence. What the Ukrainians are saying is that this has been a highly coordinated attack with swarms of drones attacking these Russian air bases all at the same time. And those videos that have been coming out on social media show the devastation and damage that has been wrought on these aircraft, many of them on the tarmac there. There's one in particular, I don't know if we're able to show it. You can see a first.
Drew, how do you feel about the phrase comparison is the death of joy? Do you compare yourself to people with big follower accounts and mope or not? Good question. Listen, I think where I was a couple of years ago, I'd probably be pinching myself how big the audience has grown. Like I still remember like 2-3 years ago, maybe I had like 20,000 followers, and it's now like 160,000 on Twitter. So I'm really lucky. I do feel really lucky. I would really like to try grow it a bit more. Because yeah, as I've discussed on the Drew Pablo show a couple of times, my big goal here is to try and make this a sort of full-time professional type gig for myself. I'd really like to try and be able to support myself fully from my online media activities, and I'm kind of nearly on the way there. I'm maybe like about probably like half or 60% of my income now is probably from online social media stuff. So I'm almost there. It's hard sometimes because I feel like I'm still like sort of just below the level of being able to make it fully. But it's just a grind. We're just trying to build it up. And yesterday we hit more than 110 people watching live at one point, which was awesome. The channel, my YouTube channel is building. My Twitter is growing still. It's everything's on an upward trajectory. So I'm just hoping that we just got to keep on working hard, I think. And I have been working hard. I think I've released about 112 pieces of individual like content across like my Substack, YouTube, basically since January 1. So that's almost like a new video or a new blog post every single day. So I'm trying really hard. A new video, live stream, or blog post every day, or a podcast. But yeah, we'll get back to the
person view, from the drone that shows these planes and drones hitting these planes on airfields or in airfields inside Russia. It is a truly astonishing attack, because what the Ukrainians have managed to do is damage some 40 aircraft, as you say, left billions of dollars of damage here for the Russians. And most
We've got almost 40
surprisingly,
people watching live now, guys. Please leave a like on our YouTube stream. Please leave a like on the YouTube stream, and YouTube will recommend us to more people. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
These have taken place not on the borderlands or the areas of Ukraine where the fighting is going on. One of these, in particular, Irkutsk, is in Siberia. That's 4,000 kilometers away from Ukraine. And so this talks to a much broader, systematic, well-planned, coordinated attack by Ukrainian intelligence, which has really stepped up now and delivered a crucial blow here to the Russians, Fred.
And then how does this attack compare to previous attacks by Ukraine against Russia?
Yeah, well, this is a big one, and
I've got a comment. Drew, will you have Richard Spencer on? It would be an epic Big Ten moment. Listen, I think I'm going to go on his show to debate him at some point in the next week, maybe. What do you think caused your big spike in viewers last night? I think it was just the crazy news. I think yesterday was probably one of the biggest days in the Ukraine war over the past more than 3 years. And obviously, like, I've been following the Ukraine war so closely. I've been very vocal about it. I guess I've got a lot of followers who follow my Ukraine stuff. So I think it was probably just the big news from yesterday.
This has happened from inside Russia. We have all seen the videos of drone attacks hitting Russian military and infrastructure targets for the past many months, and it has been a coordinated campaign from the Ukrainians. But those have been launched by and large, if not all of them, from inside Ukraine. I have been part of a Ukrainian military intelligence operation to launch drones into Russia, but those drones took off from inside Ukraine. So this marks a major change. We've also seen the Ukrainians been able to push back the Russian Navy in the Black Sea, which has also allowed.
What would you debate Dickie Spence on? I think we're going to debate maybe a bit about Christianity, because I think he claims that Jesus was not a historical figure.
To protect their coastline, the Ukrainians to protect their coastline, and attacks coming from sea into Ukraine. But this coming from inside Russia is a real game changer, and it will send a message to the Kremlin, Fred, that our operations now are becoming more sophisticated. We have the equipment, we have the hardware, we have the military know-how, and crucially here, we have the intelligence that allows us to operate inside the Russian Federation. And all of this coming at a time, Fred, where the Russians and the Ukrainians are due to meet tomorrow in Turkey to try to hash out, or at least make some sort of progress towards bringing into act a ceasefire to stop the fighting in Ukraine, which was supposed to be and is hopefully going to lead to finally the ending of this conflict, which
Drew, did you see the map of bases struck on ABC News today? 6 bases stretching the entire width of the country from the west in Murmansk to east. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Why would you debate anything about religion with an atheist? Nobody's mind will be changed. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, it's just entertaining, right?
has been going on now, Fred, since February 2022.
All right, Sebastian Shukla, thank you so much. All right, let's bring in Jill Doherty right now. She's a CNN contributor, former CNN bureau chief for Moscow, and adjunct professor at Georgetown University. Great to see you. So you just heard Sebastian. He used the word audacious to describe this attack. How would you describe, I guess, the risk or reflection of him?
39 live viewers on YouTube. Thank you, guys. Please leave a like on our stream. The more likes, YouTube recommends us to more people. Drew, could you ever debate Armin Navabi of Atheist Republic about religion? Sure, dude. Broke Jesus never existed. I mean, his was an historical figure. Well, obviously, somebody can disagree with Christianity as a religion, but I think Jesus, it's historical fact that he existed as at least as a human person. You know, right? You can deny the miracles and the religious aspect, but he did exist as a human being.
From Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the map of Russia and you see where they hit, it's quite astounding. I mean, I think everything that he said is correct, especially from launching it inside of Russia. That meant that they had to get these drones in there, and some details are coming out in the media that will probably have to be confirmed. But it's actually, I could almost use the word creative in the way they did it, very innovative. I think that it is a very big blow to Russia. If you have 40 planes, and these are bombers and intelligence planes, et cetera, that is really huge. And I think also, you have to, again, put it in context. Tomorrow, both sides will be meeting in Istanbul. And this attack comes just days after Russia launched the biggest attack on Ukraine since the war began. I mean, they had drones and ballistic missiles. So
Hydra, do you think the fall of the USSR was good for the region?
Absolutely. Right
Nobody
now.
wanted to live
I
in
was
the
talking
USSR.
to a friend of mine who is Russian, talking to a relative in Moscow, and saying that even the psychological effect of this is quite big, because that friend in Moscow was saying, the war has come to Moscow. It's no longer something that's far away in Ukraine. It is now striking the homeland, and thousands of kilometers and miles into the homeland. It's really significant.
And this is happening on, the eve, loosely speaking, of what is supposed to be continued peace talks involving Ukraine and Russia.
But a question here: do you think the Ukrainians will end up accepting a ceasefire and ceding territory if they get sufficient security guarantees? Listen. Ukraine has said that they will freeze the current borderlines in exchange for security guarantees. And look, Russia's the one that's rejecting that offer right now.
Time in Turkey again. So might this impact that?
Well, it probably will, because of the, again, audacity of this attack. But it's very hard to say where those talks are going to go, because the Ukrainians have set out their position and what they think, ceasefire first, and then a long-term solution to the conflict. The Russians have yet to really be precise, but we pretty much know what they're going to say.
I just saw an amazing comment on Twitter. Imagine what was cooked for the May 9 military parade in Moscow. And obviously America blocked that from happening. Oh my God, Ukraine probably could have done this thing with the drones at the military parade in Moscow, which would have been absolutely incredible. Xi Jinping in the audience. It's a shame that America blocked them from doing that.
Fire first. It says, root causes, as they call it. And what they want is all of Ukraine, essentially. I mean, they want to neuter Ukraine.
Would you moderate a debate between Richard Prince and Richard Hanania?
Have a substantial military.
Great idea.
They want territory. The Russians want territory that they claim in kind of a.
This has been discussed.
Great ideas. Great ideas. What would you guys like me to cover right now? Dad, are you driving trucks with the Ukrainian drone? This guy's so fucking funny. I love this Andrew account. He's fucking funny. Economic shock therapy. If you look into the problem of economic shock therapy in the former Soviet Union, in the lands that constitute the former Soviet Union, the problem is that it was actually undertaken by all the Soviet apparatchiks. So all the Soviet nomenclatura, all the people who had power under the Soviet Union, a lot of them kept power through the transition to democracy. And that's why the transition to democracy failed, because the communist elite kept power in Russia and a lot of the Central Asian republics as well, post the Soviet collapse. And that's a real shame. So funny, guys. Western Australian Senator Dorinda Cox has announced she's quit the Greens to join the Labor Party. And this is how the Greens are coping. I can only conclude that means Dorinda is happy to support genocide, mass polluting gas mining projects, and entrenched poverty for the unemployed, as long as it's good for her political career. Literally the biggest cope, guys. Wow, that's sick. The median house price in New Farm, Brisbane is $3.6 million. My God, we are so fucked up. We are so fucked. Okay, somebody has investigated whether this is really Xi Jinping's daughter. Let's see this. Earlier today, I tweeted this. This photograph is in wide circulation. The woman always identified as Xi Jinping's daughter, Xi Minzi. I got several replies pointing out that some very credible sources insisted it was Xi Minzi. So I investigated further. The reason I had discarded the possibility that this was Xi Minzi was that so little is published about her. As far as I was aware, there was no verified photographs of the General Secretary's daughter as an adult. If you search her name and Chinese characters on Chinese apps, you will get no results. The children of dictators typically enjoy this level of secrecy. So had she really turned up at some random red carpet event? Several reputable sources seem to think so, such as the Times and Newsweek. Everywhere used the same Getty image. And the source checked out. Getty and Alamy both identified the woman in the picture as Xi Minzi. Alamy even provided a picture at the same event with her mother, Peng Liyuan, Xi Jinping's wife. The event was the 2018 Fashion for Development First Ladies Luncheon, a UN-backed fashion show marketed at premiers' wives. Could it be that Peng Liyuan had attended with the Xi daughter? Was I wrong? However, if one took the time to actually look at the photograph of Peng Liyuan, it is clearly not China's first lady. Same ethnicity, similar hair, similar age and build, but a different woman. Yeah, clearly different people. Interesting. Luckily, Shutterstock exhibited a bit more rigor than their rivals and correctly identified the older woman as US State Department employee, Knight of the Legion of Honor, and all-round round table Noel KW. Wow. So it's literally a US State Department employee. Shutterstock gives a different name for our Minzi, Phi Catherine Chen. Phi isn't found in Pinyin, so this is probably a misspelling of some kind. Either way, I haven't found anything more on Catherine Chen. Maybe Noah can tell us who she is. Either way, Xi Minji wasn't hanging around a New York fashion show for years after she moved back to China. So what on earth happened here? How did two photos agencies misidentified random Chinese women as China's first lady and daughter? Why did no newspaper sense check this out? I think this is sadly a case of all look the same, striking again. At the risk of committing this sin myself, it seems like the woman in the photograph may be Catherine C. Chen from Chongqing, who attended Virginia private school at the same time the photograph was taken. Take a close look at the same badge. Oh, I actually feel bad for this lady, literally just a random international Chinese student, and she's been identified as Xi Jinping's daughter. My God, can you imagine? How do you like the Polish election? Actually, we should cover that. I think I missed Chris. Yeah, Chris does make the streams great. The USSR and Yugoslavia were shitholes. Absolutely. That's inner city Brisbane though, right? Yeah, still though, $3.5 million is crazy. House prices are fucked because of foreign Chinese investors. This is former Chinese economic warfare. Listen, it's not just foreign Chinese investors. It's a whole range of different things. A huge part of it is, massive amounts of cheap credit created by, the Reserve Bank in Australia. The other thing as well being, artificial restraints on supply through zoning restrictions. Also massive amounts of, stimulated demand as a result of the largest migration record in Australian history. What this stream's thumbnail actually mean? It's we're just talking about the cope of the Russian Vatniks today. Yugoslavia is not as bad as the USSR though, right? Tito's no Stalin. I mean, I think almost anyone doesn't look too bad next to Stalin. That's how bad Stalin was. Wow, this is $5.3 million house in Brisbane. Do you guys think this is worth $5.3 million, guys? Do you guys think this is worth $5.3 million? This is in my city of Brisbane in Australia. It's Australia's third biggest city. And this is, to be fair, it is a nice suburb, New Farm. But do you really think this is worth $5.3 million? I mean, you can literally go and buy European castles for that price. You can literally buy go buy a French chateau for this price. I do not think that's worth $5.3 million. I think it's sadly the case that the Australian dollar has just been like crazily undervalued. Crazily devalued, probably as a result of cheap money creation. That's crazy. That's certainly not worth $5.3 million. Do you think we could fix the rental crisis with central planning? I don't think so. You have to respond to supply and demand. These are real price signals in the market. Chairman Wong probably crushed that her beloved Russia got hit hard. Housing pumping. Chris, do you want to join the stream? Trump does have a lot of broadly similar traits to Mussolini himself. I think he'd like the title the Duce. Talking about reserve banks, you've got to put Richard Werner or Hugh Hendry on. Hugh has theory, US has stage 4 terminal cancer and Trump giving chemo. He's betting hyperinflation will hit China before us. I don't think there's going to be hyperinflation in America. Australia real estate problem seems made up by libs like in Cali. Listen, it is artificially, it's partly to do with NIMBYism, but at the same time, the rate of housing construction in Australia is the second highest in the OECD, which is the Club of Developed Countries. So for it to be the second highest construction rate in the OECD, but we still have massive housing crisis, it does show that it's also really something that's coming on the demand side of the equation rather than supply. It's pronounced the Duce, rhymes with goose. So true. He's saying if there will be hyperinflation, it will hit China hardest. I don't know about that. Chris says you can have me for 30 minutes. Okay, Chris, I'll send you a link. It's good to have somebody on to chat the shit with. I'll send you a link, Chris. Good stuff. Good stuff. Chris is one of the top friends of the show, I would say. Wonderful, wonderful. Do you guys think this is worth $5.3 million? I do not think that's worth $5.3 million. No city views, not on the river. They sell for $5.3 million. Stun seed. D's nuts. Thank you, Corey. Great stuff. Amazing stuff. We, the Foreign Times, wrote yesterday about the Ukrainian memorandum that Zelensky's delegation will present to the Russian side today. It lays out what Kyiv sees as a viable path to the end of the war. Here's a full text in Ukrainian and English. The Russians have refused to provide their memo ahead of the talks today in Istanbul and complained that the Ukrainians did not include theirs in the Russian language. Fucking idiots. Let's see. Okay, so Pickles LeBlanc says, Chris is like herpes. He grows on you. Well said. Corey Pelsman says, lol. So this is the Ukraine offer. Full and unconditional ceasefire in the sky, on land, and at sea as a necessary background and prerequisite for peace negotiations, confidence-building measures addressing humanitarian issues, unconditionally return all deported and illegally displaced Ukrainian children, exchange of all prisoners, the all-for-all principle, release by Russia of all civilian hostages, the aim, non-repetition of aggression. The aim of the negotiations is to restore a permanent basis for lasting peace and security and to ensure that aggression does not occur again. Security guarantees. Ukraine must receive robust security guarantees. The parties will invite the international community to participate in the negotiations and provide guarantees to ensure the implementation of the agreements. Sovereignty. Ukraine is not forced to be neutral. It can choose to be part of the Euro-Atlantic community and move towards EU membership. We've got Chris in the stream. I've got a comment here. Do you pay a lot in rent? It's getting expensive here in Queensland. I think landlords are making a lot of money from people who could afford a mortgage. Listen, I'm paying $900 a week. It's crazy. $900 a week. That's $3,500 a month. It's crazy. I'm paying a lot of money in rent. I literally I had to apply for like 70 different properties before I found one that accepted me. Chris, you're here.
That is because Drew is such a rental risk. You don't want to get firebombed. Do you want your investment property firebombed? I don't know. But yes, 30 minutes. Yeah, you have 30 minutes.
Well, okay.
I'm
what are your
revising for exams, but yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Have you seen any particular good news reports or YouTube videos summarizing the destruction yesterday, Chris?
I actually did. This earlier today, I went and reviewed some of the reporting.
What should we look at? What should we look at, do you think?
So I'm not sure. I'll have to pull it up for you. But there is some fine aperture satellite imagery, which goes into a lot more detail about what got destroyed. So we're almost certain that at least 15 bombers are wrecked. Like not even
they just can't even be repaired.
There are some, and this is where the Zisters on Twitter are coping, right, where the plane is like a bit fucked up, right? Now, to be fair, I'm not an aircraft engineer. A bit fucked up and plane sensors a lot fucked up. Now, maybe you can do some cut and shunt stuff. Maybe you can scrap them for parts. I don't know. But there are like a good 15 that are either burnt husks or that are just like fields of debris. Like you don't cut and shunt back together a field of debris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, but we're still seeing that stuff evolve. I would expect the ISW to like. I'll start finding this thing for you, but yeah, I'd expect the ISW or some other one of those.
ISW is pretty good.
Like opens OS in gatherers to shovel all this shit together.
Oh, apparently we do have an aircraft engineer in chat. Interesting.
Oh,
Who
banger.
here is it Western Hegemony Enjoyer? Please enlighten us, my friend. It's great. We've got 45 live viewers. By the way, guys, 45 on YouTube. Please leave a like.
Beautiful.
With more likes, YouTube will recommend us to more people. It's very important. So,
so this is yeah.
I think we've got.
So yeah, repairing aircraft after they've been hit is not my speciality. So if somebody in the chat who claims to be an aircraft engineer, which is good enough for me.
Yeah, if we've got an aircraft engineer in chat, that would be actually fucking goated.
Can you effectively do a cut and shunt with an aircraft? I don't know.
When will the Kremlin make a statement? I don't think they've. Yeah, that's true. I don't think they've made like a proper statement yet.
The gloves
it's just,
will come off.
The gloves are coming up. The gloves are coming off. Has Russia Today reported on it? That would be funny. Like, has Russia Today done
nothing's happened. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yes, I agree, guys. Tickle the like button. We've got 25 likes, I believe. Please give a like on the video. YouTube will recommend us to more people. What if I just claim to be an aircraft engineer? That's almost as good enough for the Drew Pavlou show. But
that's good enough. Yeah,
that's almost good enough for the Drew Pavlou show. I would like to see maybe let me see if Willo OAM has a video. I would like to hear him because I do think that overall he's a little bit leaning towards the Russia sign. So it'd be interesting. Okay, let me put on Willo OAM. It'd be interesting to see what he's saying.
Just before that, I will flick you a link for 1 second. Just find you in this thing. I'll click you some satellite imagery from Twitter so you can just scroll through that and see what I mean about fields of debris.
I hope that you are having a
beautiful. They have claimed. Yeah, that's true from Ole. They have claimed that the attack on bombers was terrorism, which is very funny.
A fantastic Monday and a brilliant start to the week. I just got home from the city.
Are you familiar with Willo OAM, Chris?
A little bit. I've watched some of his content. Yes.
Yeah. So he's a former Australian soldier, officer, and look, he does do good content. I mean, he claims to be sympathetic to Ukraine overall. I do think that potentially over time he's maybe suffered a bit from audience capture because, like, for example, I did a show with him, and like literally there were like 500 comments going like, "How dare you put on this like Ukrainian tard, Willie?" And like there was some pretty horrendous commentary, right? And he does seem to believe that basically Ukraine is like just completely finished already. But it's interesting to see what he says, right? So
after being in an MRI machine, of course, I'm getting my follow-up.
Yeah, great comment by King of Corinth. Yesterday, I was told that Ukraine wouldn't exist today, but it still exists. So what's going on here? Drew, if the Taiwan Strait War pops off, would you go aboard an Australian Navy boat and act as a war correspondent, a la Hunter S. Thompson going to Vietnam? That would actually be so goated. I'd fucking love to do that, dude. I'd love to do that.
Up results are.
Chris, do you know if the ADF would allow that? That would be so fucking cool.
Look, I have no internal knowledge of the ADF's policies around media reporting, but I'm sure that you can, if you can find like a boat, plane, or swim, I'm sure that you can get yourself to a small deserted Indonesian island or a Malaysian island off the South China Sea to take some good photos. Maybe you can get a kayak and go to like Mischief Reef or something and get rammed by
a kayak. By the kayak.
That would be a good little trip idea. Drew goes to Mischief Reef on
maybe Drew
established new island. Drew established new island on Mischief Reef. Bag of sand, fishing boat
in the South China Sea. Drew starts. That's such a great YouTube idea. Mischief Reef.
Plant an Australian flag out there. Cause
that would actually be, that's a fucking great idea. Okay, Drew YouTube video idea for when I finish my university semester. We go out to like literally Mischief Reef, and then I just pour some sand down and say we're gonna be on a fucking kayak and just say we're literally claiming this for Australia. Okay, let's watch a little bit of Willo OAM.
After the previous 3 months.
Someone says, maybe your next trip is to the Philippines. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I actually have like legitimately been talking to some guys in the Philippines about potentially doing my next trip at the Philippines. Because obviously I went to Ukraine earlier this year. I really want to go to the Philippines and report in the South China Sea.
Months of King.
The other one I want to do is I want to go to Brunei, which is like, not Brunei, sorry. I want to go to Bhutan, the Himalayan mountain kingdom that China has basically been seizing land from over the past couple of years. It'd be really interesting to cover that.
Therapy. So in 48 hours, I will have the results for you, whether it be positive, negative, neutral. We will keep marching on as we do. And thank you for all of the support. Now, legends, of course, you know what the main meat of this video is going to be about. It's going to be about, of course, those Ukrainian drones that had a big impact on Russia's strategic bombers, the Tu-95s, Tu-22s. We're going to talk about that. But as we do here too, we're going to go off what is the real battlefield effect of this. We're going to try and peer past some of the informational space and the fog that we are in at the moment. We're going to look at what visually has actually been confirmed, destroyed, or damaged, rather than just claims, and we'll go over how this unfolded, and then we'll step through multiple different folders and then come out with an outcome of how dangerous is this for states around the world for attacks like this. What's the real effect
by the way, guys,
of this? And
we've got 45 people on YouTube. Thank you so much. Please leave a like on the stream, guys. We've got, I think we've got 35 likes. The more likes you put down on the YouTube stream, the more YouTube will recommend us to more people. So I really appreciate that, guys.
The full breakdown of it. Again, some of these slides, especially around what's being destroyed.
Yeah, if you want a bit more insight into Willo OAM's audience, have a look at like the top comments, right? So like Meltelic Rig, the thing is, this destruction is not a humiliation of Russia. It is a humiliation of the US. What the fuck? How do you even claim that? Those planes are kept on purpose in the open, and the security for these facilities was conducted contractually on a bilateral basis. It means that it was the interest of the US to keep that fleet secure, since it was a further warning system in case of conflict. So in fact, now a major US treaty was breached.
I mean, not
that
really.
Is
like that's
cope, dude.
I mean, not really. Like, so the Russian.
He's talking about Open Skies Treaty.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, Open Skies Treaty.
In terms of Open Skies' actual effect, like, yeah,
that's just such cope. That's massive.
Okay, sure. I mean, not really.
Like, it's massive cope. Like, as if like America wanted the fucking base. They wanted the fucking planes sitting on the tarmac. Seriously, get fucking lost.
And that's never actually the issue. Like I mean, fundamentally, the planes are kept in both forces to drop like tactical nukes at best, and like just to serve as a way to keep the Air Force like occupied with planes rather than just building more submarines and silos, which is that's honestly the major throwaway in any war.
Yeah, that's a beautiful comment. The cope. I love how it's like, it's actually embarrassing to the US. So true, unbelievably.
May age like milk, because more footage will come out, and of course more satellite imagery over the next 24, 48 hours. But before we get into that, we'll quickly just belt feed through the maps. So of course, here is the deep state map. You have Ukraine in the center, the capital of Kyiv. The red areas occupied since 22, the purple since 2014. Now, this map today has not updated, but do not fear, I have other maps for you and geolocations. And the first area we're going to come into is between Ukraine's Sumy Oblast, Russia's Kursk Oblast, and we see a lot of movement in here. Now, you may remember the best part of a week ago, I have a contact in here who said, Willie, I am fighting dudes in Konstantinivka and around Volodymyr as well. And then what we see days following was we see this turn into grey.
Yeah,
we can see almost the individual fields at this scale. Like this is the 3-day operation, 3 years in. And,
yeah, I know, right? Literally 3 years in.
Like we're literally fighting over Uncle Eagle's pig farm.
It's crazy, right?
It's like fuck.
Much of the great superpower is literally fighting over pig farm.
This is actually far more humiliating than the fucking planes dying. Like this is.
Yeah, like they're still fucking struggling to take the entirety of the Donbass. They first invaded the Donbass in 2014. It's now been 11 years. It's actually crazy.
Or red on maps. And this gentleman has reached back out to me. I do know this guy. He says the maps are short on the areas shown in Sumy. There's attacks happening daily. And then we broke down over conversation of where was this happening. And he said in this, Kindrativka and Oleksivka. So if we then measure this of just the center of Kindrativka to the gray zone, say 2 kilometers, and Oleksivka back to the red, say a K.7, so just over a mile away. But he's actively fighting guys in there. And if we look then at the Suryak maps, well, he confirms that the Russians are, well, he says that they fully control Kindrativka in here and are making ground between. So
crazy to watch a stream where 2 guys realize that war is in fact pointless. Dude, I don't want this war to be taking place. It's like fucking Russia that started it. I would love it.
You see, when the West conducts a proper war, it's all over for Baghdad within about 48 hours, rather than fighting over.
Well, the West actually wins.
Yeah, don't superpowers don't watch this.
Yeah, real superpowers.
Also, and
should I find that video?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should just have it playing like over the top here, and like just have it playing in the corner to remind sometimes where people.
I gotta find it. Hang on. Real. What is it? Real.
It sent hundreds of thousands to their deaths.
Real superpower things. Russia close eyes. Drew, can you explain how the fact Russia is still fighting over Uncle Andrei's pig farm is actually way more embarrassing for the US, though? Yeah, so true. Because like
the US has
multipolarism or
treaties
something-
over that pig. Yeah, the US has
over the pig
treaties
farm.
over the pig farm, and actually that pig farm was meant to be. Yeah, just mute it, but just have it. Can you have it playing in the corner, or is it per window?
Yeah. Oh, unfortunately, I can't play both at the same time. But,
Okay,
let's just play this really quickly so people understand. People need to understand this is what a real superpower looks like. This is what actual superpower things, involves. It's actually crazy. It's also awesome because this is just like the tiny scale. Like it's not even at scale, right? Like there were thousands and thousands of aircraft operating at the same time. It's actually crazy. Close your eyes if you're Russian. This is what it involves, what being a real superpower involves, and Russia just cannot understand it at all. Because 3 years
You see
later,
how they're doing? You see how they're doing pylon turns around over their capital. You see how Russia is not doing that? Very important.
Yeah, I know they're not actually doing it. Oh, beautiful! Discovered you yesterday. Loved the Lindy Man interview yesterday. See, the channel's rising. Thank you so much, Monsieur. Please leave a like and subscribe as well. Really appreciate it. No. Hang on. I'm not saying that Desert Scale was tiny scale. I'm saying the YouTube video is a tiny scale of what actually happened because there were like thousands and thousands of aircraft here, all operating simultaneously, combined arms. Anyway, yeah, let's go back to Willo M because we've only got a short time left with Chris, who helps us a lot with our stream. Hang on, where's go back to Willo M.
Say
just skip to where he goes to the BDA. Can we skip to the battle damage assessment?
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
I don't.
Because otherwise we're just going to be stuck, just like Uncle Andrei's pig farm, etc., etc. Okay.
For a while, so if I need to take a breather, bear with me. So this is the outline of what we'll be talking about, and this lines up with these folders here. So you can skip forward through the video if it is dragging on. So how did it unfold? What happened is going to be our first. What is the claimed versus visual damage? Remember, when it comes to aircraft, our standard is high because the claims are always exorbitant. And with aircraft, we go by the rule of thumb of when your mate goes on a holiday and says he hooked up with a girl or girls. Here's what we do is then we divide it by 3. On the opposite of that, when there's a claim of, X amount of drones got threat defenses, what do? Well, we times that by 3. Then we'll go, well, how vulnerable are Western assets? How vulnerable are our bases? Because it's easy to point and laugh at Russia and go, oh, your bombers are on fire. Okay, but if
it is, we have to enjoy it a little bit.
With drones in and flew out and targeted bombers, it would look very, very similar. How successful was this? What was the hardware? What is the propaganda victories in this? What battlefield effect will we expect to see? Will we expect to see battlefield effects? And is there ways that this operation could have had more battlefield effects? We know that Ukraine and Russia are meeting in Turkey for diplomatic negotiations. So what will be the diplomatic response? What will Trump's response be to this? And if Trump's response has come out since posting this video, I apologize. What will Russia's kinetic response to this be? Will they fire more missiles? Will they fire more drones? What may we see? And what is the...
I'm responding to Peter here. He says, Drew, have you ever dated a woman of a different religious background? I've dated some Muslim girls before. Very funny.
Wasted design from chat. Some of the stat pictures are already out, which he might get to this fucking...
Oh, skip this. Yeah.
Just skip. I don't care. Like, I get he's trying to bound this. Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that.
Which part should we go to?
Is there any of the satellite photos? Okay, let's just skip this nerd. The satellite photos are out.
That should be.
No, that's
okay. So he didn't even use the satellite photos. Okay, I've got the satellite photos from Chris. I'll put it on.
Yeah, I've actually looked at this.
Hang on, let me put these up.
Much better.
Yeah, this is a beautiful satellite imagery. Okay.
Yeah,
Operation Spiderweb. This is beautiful. Yeah. This is beautiful.
So this is what I mean. I can't circle this, but you can just pretend that I'm circling this with a laser pointer in a big war room.
The Drew Pavlov show will one day have a war room. Imagine that.
I'll get the laser pointer out. So you can see these beautiful debris fields, and when we go to the second set of these images, you'll see some hardened shelters. So clearly, at some point, the drones did make their way into hardened shelters. We don't have footage of that yet.
Oh, that's
but yeah,
amazing.
So if you zoom in on,
Yeah,
if we zoom in on some of
wow.
these, so you can
So
see
these are
it's
the
not,
hardened shelters, yeah.
yeah. So some of these planes have been attacked. So if you go over to this one, there are suspicions. So you can see that destroyed one there. It just stops. You're flicking around. Jesus, I'm
Hang on, this one,
having
right?
getting motion sick. Yes, that one. Zoom in on the
Okay, yeah.
rightmost plane.
This one here,
So
yes.
yeah, you can see the probable Tu-22M3 destroyed. There are some other images that I've seen, and they're not in this set, but it's fine. It seems to indicate the others were attacked. So you can see a little bit of that in the plane. Yeah, right where your cursor was.
Destroyed
So,
possible Tu-22M3.
yeah, there are a couple of others, like looks like splash hits on these where they don't entirely burn down, possibly because of how they've been targeted. But again, we don't have we only have, these are the confirmed ones, right? These are the ones which are literally pieces of rubble. There are a couple of photos around of some that
these are just literally rubble. Holy shit.
These are bits. These are bits. These are not recoverable.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you can
I
see
love
some
this
of the
one.
damage.
I love this one.
Yeah, that one is just a shadow.
It's just a shadow. I love that one.
No, I know the one to the right of it where you can see the one wing like still there is kind
The
of
one
also
wing?
like the one wing.
This one, like both the wings seem to have survived, but I love this one
Yeah,
that's just literally a shadow. Beautiful.
Yeah. So I would say that you're not getting those back up off the ground, unless the wind picks them up and scatters the dust a bit further. So
this is actually a good comment. You know what, Chris? I used to always think that like all that stuff about like the PLA buying up farmland, I used to think that was kind of just boomer sort of stuff. But to be honest, like now it's actually like a genuine consideration, right?
Yeah. No, it is a bit of a tactical.
I mean, like you can literally just
strategic
anybody can do this. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the underlying issue that it presents, right? Is that any state actor or even a particularly determined non-state actor could undertake this kind of attack. Yeah,
Wow.
Any damage to that fuselage is not recoverable. I mean, potentially, if it's I assume if it's a smaller hole, it's a pressure. Not an aircraft engineer.
It's beautiful.
There are some things which are retrievable. There are some things which are fixable. I'm certainly aware that if you break the fuselage in half or you set fire to the center portion of it, it's basically fucked.
Which is beautiful, yeah, and that's what some of these have been hit in that way.
Yeah, some of these are literally burnout wrecks, and that's like,
yeah,
you don't have to be an engineer to know that that's not flying again.
This is the defense editor at The Economist. This is getting somewhat lost. The night before Ukraine's drone raid, Russia conducted what was the largest drone attack on Ukraine in the war to date, and I guess ever, with 472 Shahed type attack. That's a lot of drones. 472 Shahed drones. I've actually seen a piece of a Shahed drone before. You know, Rob Potter, he has a piece in his apartment, one that just like hit pretty close nearby, and he just literally got like a piece of it up off the ground. It's crazy.
Where's Drew's piece of a Shahed drone?
What'd you say?
Where's Drew's piece of a Shahed drone?
Oh, we are going to try get some back to Australia. We'll see. Through the legal channels. This is funny. We should talk a bit about the Greens in Australia. Greens and their policy on the Australian Defence Alliance with America. The arrogance is shocking. Australia is not just a pot of money for the US military. Australia needs to be an independent and peaceful force in the world. This does not happen by footing the US's bills and buying US weapons that threaten our neighbors. What the fuck is their problem, man? Seriously, what is their problem? They're just so out of touch with reality.
Look,
China's literally doing the biggest peacetime build-up in human history.
The Greens are delusional. And if they wanted to be peaceful and independent, and they wanted both things at the same time, I have a really bad news about an independent defense policy that actually works. It's not cheaper.
Like 5%. That's like Sweden or something like that. Like Sweden before, which is like 10% GDP on defense or something like that.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of money. It's actually an increase. So if they want to go ahead with independence, I you can go read the Hugh White. How funny is it that you can go hit the Hugh White papers if they would like, and they can figure out how much that would cost.
How funny is this? Australia is not just a pot of money for the US military. Like, we basically use America as a pot of money for our military, because if it wasn't for America guaranteeing our sovereignty, we would have to basically do 5% GDP defense spending at least, right? Like 5% at least, probably.
It wouldn't be quite 5%. You'd have to do some other deals. But there would be other discussions that you would have about what capabilities Australia required. underneath those kind
Yeah.
of circumstances that we don't
There'd be a
have to
chance
have
you'd have to
currently.
consider doubling it.
You would need to consider severely ramping it up, yes. And look, in some ways, I do agree with Albo's point that you determine the spend on the capabilities and not necessarily the amount of money. However, that being said,
that's true.
you need more capabilities, and that's just going to cost more money.
Exactly.
So I think it is putting the cart before the horse to say you need to spend this much. But there is serious issues underpinning the defence procurement budget and also the process by which defence undertakes procurement. But I'm going to stop on that. I'm going to stop on that note on that topic.
Let's have a really quick read of this. This is really depressing. Last week, myself and Fakuna visited a council flat in Holborn. The tenant has been living in the States for 22 years, spending most of his time sitting on a dirty blanket with dozens of beer cans, coffee cups, and pieces of soy bedding strewn across the floor. Oh, gee. And then tragic story of a psychotic Somali man who moves to the UK shortly after gets sent to prison and is then given benefits and a tenancy for life in central London, which he struggles with the upkeep of. Gee, that's really, really difficult. The tenant was born in Somalia, having left the country in 1988. He then moved to the Netherlands in 1991 around the time of the armed conflict in Iraq. Before coming to the UK 4 years later, he added that he does not have any family. Karim said he had been placed in this flat. He spent time in prison after becoming homeless in the UK. He said this is when he first started receiving injections to treat symptoms of psychosis. He continues to attend St. Pancras Hospital regularly for his injections, to see a social worker twice a week, where he also collects his cash benefits payment from. He said when he moved into the property, it was clean with no issues, but now he often walks around the local area and spends time in the block's communal garden to avoid the filth and thick, musky air waiting for him at home. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah,
that is
I
not
unfortunately, yeah, I'm not Perun, but I will take more. I will take more of an affirmative stance than Perun on some things. Perun actually is bound by agreement. Perun is much more bound up in not talking about Australia because he is probably a contractor in Canberra for defence.
Right.
So he talks a lot less about Australia because he's a lot more bound by what he can and can't say. But yes.
Yeah, look, we should actually watch some of the prunes. By the way, we've got 55 people. You know what? We should actually do, maybe we should cover a little bit of the Poland election because that's really big news and it's really big implications for, Ukraine, Russia, Eastern Europe.
He does talk about Australia. I agree with the chat. He does talk about Australia, but there are certain things he doesn't talk about, which important current ongoing acquisitions of the Australian Defence Force, and by which process of information you can figure out what he's working on.
By Donald Trump.
Let's watch a little bit on the Polish news because this is pretty big news for Eastern Europe and the EU.
Donald Trump. A nationalist candidate backed by Donald Trump, Karol Nawrocki, has won Poland's presidential election in a neck-and-neck race. Bloomberg's Oliver Crook joins us now from the capital, Warsaw. So this was a candidate who was actually backed by President Trump. What do these results mean for Poland, Ollie?
Drew, did you see what Hegseth said about Australia needing to increase military spending? Yeah, look, that's why we were just discussing that Greens comment before, saying like, oh, America's so arrogant and stuff like that. Look, we actually do need to increase defense spending. I think we're just meeting the 2% thing, but I think realistically 2.5% is a much better and realistic target now. But I do also see Chris and Albo's point that it's not just spending the money. You actually have to make sure you're spending on the right systems. I mean, that is actually obvious. That's very obvious as well.
In terms of that, I agree with some of the reprioritization that was undertaken under the DSR, so the review. That being said, the timeframes are not fast enough. Like you just need
Drew,
to
have you ever raised your voice against Islamophobia? So true, bro. So true. Okay, let's watch the Poland.
And in answer to the question from the chat, the autism came first.
Here. Yes. I love
autism came first.
This is a place for young autistic smart blokes who love their politics and world history and military.
I've been tested. It's not. I don't have it.
That's the Drew Pavlich show, my friend.
Yeah, so listen, this was an election that came really down to the wire. It was decided by less than 1 percentage point in the sort of late hours of last night and this morning, where we had the centrist candidate versus the sort of right-wing candidate that was backed by the Law and Justice Party, the party that ruled Poland for 8 years until 2023 when Donald Tusk came to power. And what this now means is that the president is not just sort of a figurehead here in Poland. So the president has a lot of powers in terms of vetoing legislation and initiatives by the prime minister. So this is going to likely cause quite a bit of deadlock and paralysis. This was the sort of hope that Donald Tusk could sort of consolidate his power and get some of his agenda through. And part of the reason that he did not potentially, his candidate didn't do so well in this election is that there had been some difficulty.
I do agree with Western hegemony and Joy that, raising defense spending in Australia may or may not be necessary, but Hegseth is probably not the one who would actually know, and I think that's probably true.
Yeah, I think that Canberra would appreciate message not coming from Fox and Friends.
From fucking Pete
know.
Hegseth. Yeah, exactly.
They know,
exactly.
they know. They're not dumb. They do know.
Actually, what would?
But it's not about a number.
It's
yes.
You know what we should cover? We'll go back to Poland and this stuff. But I want to quickly cover how Albo was attacking Aspie the other day, which is a pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so
this comes from the Varghese. This comes from your special friend.
Yeah, the Varghese thing.
He throws guys, hands in many different things.
Yeah, guys. So if you're just watching now, part of my backstory, and I'll have to do like a YouTube series on this because part of the funny thing is probably like a majority of my audience are not aware of my full backstory and everything. But and it really just came over the past year. But part of my backstory was I was expelled from the University of Queensland for protest against the Chinese government. And Chris was, my top mate, top lieutenant at the time, helping me out with we were plotting our media attacks and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, Pete Varghese was the chancellor of the University of Queensland at that time. He's still the chancellor of UQ to this day. And the Australian government, actually, yeah, someone said put Pete Varghese Wikipedia up quickly. Okay, really quickly. Someone says, yeah, we need a backstory video. Drew, how long until most of your internet trolls are just MSS-controlled adaptive AI bots? Yeah, absolutely. So Pete Varghese was a former secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. He has been the chancellor of UQ since, I think 2016. He graduated UQ with a university medal. Watch out. Very, very impressive. Now, some pretty impressive moments in his history. He was the Director General of the Office of National Assessments. He was a senior advisor international to Prime Minister John Howard from 2003. So he advised him to go into Iraq based on WMDs. Very smart move. And then, as we all know, that worked out extremely well. Peter Varghese was completely right. Now, there's a really funny fact about Peter Varghese. His brother, Jim Varghese, I'll put this up as well. Hang on. I got to find my Twitter post on this.
Activist or attention hog? Some are asking this, Drew.
What do you say? Oh, yeah, activist or attention hog. So this is UQ Chancellor Peter Varghese's brother, Jim Varghese. He's a company director for Springfield Land Corporation, which recently signed $1 billion deal with Chinese state-linked property developer companies, headed by senior United Front CCP leaders. Beautiful conflict of interest. There's Jim Varghese. That's Peter. Chairman and owner, Jim Varghese is the chairman and owner of the leadership company Queensland, director and former CEO of the Springfield Land Corporation, highly experienced professional, blah, blah, blah. They signed this big thing with the RNF Property Group. I'm not sure if that was in 2017. I'm not sure if anything ever even happened about that. But this was a guy who led the RNF Property Group. And he is a member of the 11th, 12th, and 13th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, which is like one of the top CCP bodies. So that's Peter Varghese's brother, which is amazing. And he is, incredible. Yeah. Incredible figure. And
contextually, though, Drew, in terms of the in terms
yeah.
of
So let me link it back to Aspie. I link it back to Aspie. I've probably got some. I'll quickly show everyone this. He called me conspiracy theorist at the Parliament. So there's a full national inquiry into the foreign interference in Australian universities. He called me a conspiracy theorist because he was protected by parliamentary privilege when he was testifying to the Parliament. Where is my Twitter account on? Hang on, I'm going to find this quickly. I have a tweet about what happened with Pete Varghese and Aspie. Basically, the Australian government hired Peter Varghese to do a report that had a kind of predetermined outcome, which was gut the Aspie Australian Strategic Policy Institute. And the Australian Strategic Policy Institute is an independent think tank, and it's kind of identified, I guess, more with the sort of hawkish position on China. It was actually one of China's 14 demands. So when China levied $30 billion in trade sanctions in Australia, one of their 14 demands for lifting those trade sanctions was shutting down Aspie. No way. I just joined the stream to ask you about Varghese and that same article, Great Minds, Drew. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Where is, I've got to find, okay, here it is. Here it is. This is the tweet that I was looking for, guys. Hang on. I'll put this on the stream. 1 second. Hang on. Okay. So this is Peter Varghese speaking at the reception, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the establishment of China-Australia diplomatic relations. Beautiful. How beautiful. There's literally the People's Republic of China emblem, like on his fucking lectern. So Peter Varghese submitted a report recommending the Australian government gut the think tank ASPI, something the CCP demanded the Australian government do in 2021. Varghese is the same man who once tried to expel me from university after Chinese state media called for my head. He was the perfect man for this hatchet job. Matthew Knott for the Sydney Morning Herald. A high-profile think tank known for its hawkish views on the Chinese Communist Party is set to have its funding cut as a result of a review that will allow the federal government to exert more influence over national security research. Former Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade head Peter Varghese briefed think tank bosses on Wednesday about the findings of his review, which the government plans to release publicly. Think tanks that rely on the federal government for core funding would have to apply for competitive grants every 5 years. The government would have observer status on their governing councils. Sources familiar with Varghese's confidential briefing said that the Australian Strategic Policy Institute and the Australian-American Leadership Dialogue were set to be the two big leaders from the review. Beautiful. And we all knew that that was going to be the end result of the review from the very start, as soon as they appointed him. Sources said that Varghese, currently the Chancellor of the University of Queensland, had recommended the government make ASPI compete for its core funding and cut off funding the Institute's office in Washington. How convenient. So, this is a great guy. We love our Peter Varghese. And going back to the news story, why this is all relevant. So recently, this is right after, the government commissions Varghese to give them the preferred outcome they want in their so-called independent report, which is say gut all funding for these think tanks that are critical of the Chinese Communist Party, that the Chinese Communist Party has actually demanded Australia shut down. This was 29 May. So this was actually, this was this week. The Prime Minister says calls to lift defence spending made by a leading foreign policy think tank are predictable. He said the organisation headed by former Liberal staffer Justin Bassey was run by people who have been in a position to make a difference in the past. So the Prime Minister has lashed out at one of the country's leading security think tanks and demanded it have a look at themselves after it warned Australia could be left with a brittle and hollowed out defence force if military funding was not increased. Its latest cost of defence report, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, found that despite the government's claims it made a generational investment in defence during the March budget, the investment has been put off for another generation. The failure of this year's budget to meet the responsibility will make all of Australians less secure. So this was the report, and then Albanese comes out and smashes them for it. And it's very funny because this is something that like Trump would do. Trump, it's the type of thing Trump would do, going out and just smashing an independent think tank for criticizing the government, right? Well, that's what they do, isn't it, ASPI? I mean, seriously, they need to have a look at themselves and the way they conduct themselves in debates. We've had a defense strategic review. We've got considerable additional investment going into defense, $10 billion, Mr. Albanese said, while insisting his government was acting. ASPI regularly produced these sorts of reports, run by people who have been in a position to make a difference as part of former governments. I think it's predictable, frankly. So he basically calls them just like sort of stooges of like the CIA and America and like, the conservative side of Australian politics. Albanese suggested that Labor had plans to lift defence expenditure up to 2.4% of GDP, but under the government's projections, defence spending is expected to reach 2.3% of GDP by 2033. That's like 10 years away. Max Hooper says, I'm with Albo on this one. Well, we know that, Max, because you're literally a part of like the LaRouche movement in Australia. Last year, a government commissioned review of public support for national security research, which was led by former bureaucrat Peter Varghese, recommended an overhaul of funding for ASPI and other similar institutions inside Labor circles. There has been growing disquiet at the direction of ASPI under the leadership of Bassey, former Liberal Party staffer who has been appointed to the role by Peter Dutton. In a statement, Bassey said ASPI was set up to deliver hard truths to the government of the day, regardless of whoever's in power. Following the release of the Varghese review
weren't
last
nice
year,
to Liberal government either. Like they
criticise Liberal governments all the time as well. Following the release of the Varghese review last year, former Labor MP and now senior council member at ASPI, David Feeney, criticised the government's response to the document. The recommendation to close the ASPI office in Washington, D.C. is a misstep, particularly at a time when AUKUS is so important, while the DFAT viewpoint is that it should enjoy a monopoly on the Australia-US relationship is explicable, the fact remains that civil society is important to the alliance relationship too. So really, this is all like sort of power plays within, like DFAT. DFAT really does not like ASPI. DFAT has produced a sort of generation of diplomats, people who, like, if you look at, for example, the types of people who write for the John Menadue blog, let me bring that up actually. Pearls and Irritations. So like, this is kind of like the clearinghouse for like the boomers, the kind of like boomer former DFAT retirees. And everybody who publishes here. Oh, I'm actually surprised David Pocock's publishing with Menadue. Sometimes you get reputable people publishing with them, but other times you get like literally fucking insane people. And I'll show you, for example, one of these most insane people is probably Tony Kevin. So Tony Kevin is, I think, a former ambassador of Australia to Poland. And like, he's literally written like full-blown Russia apologia in the John Menadue journal. And so like that's the thing, right? Like if we're talking about the sort of John Menadue type DFAT boomers, You have to have these big questions. Are they doing a good job? I mean, why does DFAT keep on producing these like literal tankies, basically? Tony Kevin, let me find this.
You know why, and it's because they're selected straight from ANU. They take DFAT takes the most retarded people to the most soulless, like mush, least like guileful people that you would never want to be the diplomat, and they take them through their special little program. And if anything was left from you, any soul was left after uni, they blow it away.
They blow you up. Kevin.
It's just terrible. It's just they're automata. They are the least wily.
They're robots.
They're robots. And that's not who you want running a foreign affairs. You want smart, capable people. You know, you basically almost want not a criminal, but you want somebody who is, you know, sneaky and sly. And what you get are fuckheads. Like just
somebody was asking us what the topic at hand is. We're basically talking about like sort of like boomers in Australian foreign policy circles who are like pro-China and pro-Russia. So like, you know, here's a good one, right? Like John Menadue, America's the most violent, aggressive country in the entire world. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like they literally wrote this like August last year, 2 years into Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It's just so mentally ill. Oh my God, there's just so many amazing moments. John McCowan, so funny. How's he even still alive? The STDs that circulated amongst 60s ALP staffers were legendary. He'd be one of the only survivors. we love John McCowan. He's such a funny bloke. Yes. Oh my God. Seriously. Hang on. Why's my camera off?
Retired from DFAT in 1988, dude. Fucking shut up.
Like have a look at Tony Kevin, right? So Russian foreign minister. This guy was literally like an ambassador of Australia. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov and Rubio have just discussed Ukraine crisis by phone. Russian FM vows to publish results of probe into Kursk and Bryansk tragedy soon. Those responsible will receive the punishment they deserve. British advise teaching their Ukrainian pupils how to waste Ukraine lives more efficiently. The end result is the same, more dead Ukrainians. I hope Russia is drawing up plans to sheet home the blame to where it belongs. Fucking nuts, dude. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, so
Tony Kevin. This is a comment on Operation Spiderweb. Let's see. This will be massive, Cope. This will be amazing, Cope. Actually. Hang on. Okay, let me.
If you're here, it's already over for you. Go find another department to join. You can do international in many departments. You don't have to join DFAT.
What the fuck is DFAT's problem? Why do we get these horrible boomers? I think they're actually tankies, like legitimate tankies in here.
Yeah, because I have bad news about university students from 1960.
Or like
very bad
I don't know.
news.
I feel actually really bad for anybody who's like a university student and they want to like get into DFAT or whatever. Like I've seen all these young kids who are like passionate about foreign policy, they want to get in, and like I do not think they take good people. I do not take. Okay, so this is Tony. This is keep in mind Tony Kevin is literally like an ambassador of Australia to Poland. Literally former ambassador to holy shit, like he's literally published on the Russian embassy website. So from 1991 to 1994 he was Australian ambassador to Poland. Operation Spiderweb. I've just posted this letter to the editors of John Menadue, Pearls and Irritations. Exactly as I said, guys, like the Pearls and Irritations John Menadue website is the most fucking unhinged boomer shit in the world. Dear Catriona and John, I still regard myself as the Pearls and Irritation community, even though you have not responded to any of my correspondence for some months now. Amazing. Beautiful. Yesterday's Operation Spiderweb in Russia and the preceding lethal sabotage of civilian passenger trains and tracks are massive events that were clearly intended to affect the Russia-Kiev peace talks due to start in Istanbul today, June 2, in major ways.
Wait, did he not talk about the planes at all? Can we just?
I don't know. Does he? What is even the style and audacity of the raids? The Economist's words tellingly recalls. Also, I love the boomer grammar as well. Recalls British military surprise attack operations by Drake against Spain.
I'm on for the ... Yeah.
The commando raids against Nazi Germany in World War II.
I don't think
is that a bad thing then?
I don't think he talks about. He didn't talk about the planes at all.
Yeah, what the hell? Literally nothing. Scott Ritter has published a harsh and urgent commentary saying Russia must respond strongly militarily. Scott Ritter, the fucking convicted pedophile. Oh my god, dude. I I'm reading on the Telegram server. Holy shit. Oh, this is so bad, man. This is a lot of highly detailed reporting and analysis. I'm reading on Telegram. Holy fuck, dude. The boomers are not okay. They're literally getting brain poisoned by like fucking Telegram. My God. Oh my God, man.
Well, I mean, this is the problem, and this is my last comment before I do go and resume my revision properly. The problem with boomers has always been the same, and that is that they grew up in a media environment where it, like, was pretty middle of the road, and if it was on a screen, it may have been approaching truth somewhat. The problem when you give them a phone or an iPad or a laptop and social media is that they have not been, and the older that you are, the more that you fall for this. You're not accultured to the fact that you can just go on the internet and lie, right? Now, for you and I,
people
Drew,
do all the time.
We've been on the internet, and I've certainly been on the internet like basically my entire waking life, which is probably the cause of many issues. However, one of the issues I don't have is like telling irony and bullshit from facts. But these people, brains are immediately cooked the second they see anything on a screen, because if it's on a screen, it must be real, because they grew up sitting in front of a television, right? And
have a look at this.
And a phone is just such a much more high velocity dopamine inducing experience. Add to the fact that you believe everything on the screen, which is what leads boomers to be the most fucking retarded people now that they're all leaving work and just spending their entire time glued to their fucking phones.
Just on like the fucking John Menadu blog. It's actually such a crisis. Look at this. He's literally been published by the official embassy of the Russian Federation in Australia. Last Thursday, 13 June 2024, the day before attending your embassy's delightful and inspiring National Day reception in Canberra, I sent you privately the essay below on my impressions from my recent visit on a humanitarian scientific visa to Moscow. What the fuck, dude? This is a former Australian ambassador to Poland. So this is what I'm talking about, guys, when I say that DFAT unfortunately has produced some really, really bad people. Russia is winning the war and is also winning global hearts and minds. Holy shit, this is August last year. As seen by a Western observer who recently returned home from Moscow after 18 enjoyable days there. Holy shit, dude. Can you imagine the amount of prostitutes they plied him with in those 18 days? My God, dude.
Bro's hips are broken. Bro's hips smashed to pieces by
Russia is winning hands down in both the real war against NATO Europe and in the global information war. The West is in the throes of desperate denial and disordered thinking. Russia now derides Western... I was accompanying a doctor friend to his professional exchange with 2 leading Moscow hospitals. Blah, 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 blah. This essay merges relevant personal impressions and accessible online English and Russian language sources on the open access Telegram server. Oh my God, dude, he's getting destroyed. His brain's getting melted on fucking Telegram. I felt different watching Telegram sites in Moscow. Ukrainian online news and blogs are freely available on this server. There's no attempt to block them. So true, dude. So true. My most useful news channels on Russia-West relations are YouTube, Ukraine Watch, Ukraine Leaks, RT in Russian and English. Holy shit. The official MFA and Kremlin websites and Western independent sites like Jeffrey Sachs and Scott Ritter. Holy shit. This is his information diet, dude. You could not get shitter. You could not get a worse information diet. My God. Moscow's women continue to dress and accessorize beautifully. Holy shit, dude. They got him. They fucking got him, dude. They fucking got him. Moscow's women continue to dress and accessorize beautifully. They got him. That's how they got him, dude. They literally publishing this on the fucking Russian embassy website. Oh my God, dude.
Holy shit. Like, I don't think you could pay an Indian on Fiverr to write a more glowing review.
Could imagine though, like 70-year-old Russian, 75-year-old, or like actually he's probably 80-year-old Australian boomer pro-Russian former diplomat goes to Russia and writes back, the Moscow women are so beautiful. Like, we know what the fuck happened here. We know what the fuck happened here. Oh my God, man. This is sick. This is actually sick. I did not hear people talking much about the war. The dominant feeling was sadness that little brother Ukraine had so far strayed from its 3 centuries lodged in the Russian civilizational world. Holy fuck, dude. A fratricidal war against their own Russian brothers. Some Telegram channels are full of heartrending videos of vicious street kidnappings of Ukrainian men being conscripted and stories of safe escape corridors being opened by Russian forces to Ukrainian soldiers going over to the front line to the Russians. So fucking true. Holy shit. My God, man. This is unhinged. This is unhinged. This is like an Australian ambassador to Poland, by the way. The boomers are fucking destroyed. The boomers are fucking us destroyed. Someone's commented, Svetlana probably rocks these old guys' world. Yeah, Svetlana just destroyed his hip.
They had to get hip replacement in Moscow too.
Oh my god, dude. That's how bad. So we got a bit distracted by that. Maybe I'll bring up the Poland stuff now.
Okay.
But
On that note about genius boomers in
nationalist
Australian media, I shall leave you, Drew. Have a great night. I hope
Thank
your chat
you.
has a
Thank
good
you
night.
so much for joining us, Chris. Very good to have you on tonight. It's always good when the Drew Pavlis Show has Chris on. We always have great stuff. Thank you, Chris.
Beautiful stuff. Thanks, Drew.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. The Drew Pavlis Show, thanks you. A great deal. A great friend of the show there. Let's discuss the Polish election results, friends. Robert Hardy, how are you? I remember your early UQ China days. That's how I know you. Amazing. It's rare to have somebody who has been following me for so long. Thank you, Robert. That's awesome, man. Thank you, man.
Candidate backed by Donald Trump, Karol Nawrocki, has won Poland's presidential election in a neck-and-neck race. Bloomberg's Oliver Kirk joins us now from the capital, Warsaw. So this was a candidate who was actually backed by President Trump. What did these results mean for Poland, Ollie?
Yeah, so listen, this was an election that came really down to the wire. It was decided by less than 1 percentage point in the sort of late hours last night and this morning, where we had the centrist candidate versus the sort of right-wing candidate that was backed by the Law and Justice Party, the party that ruled Poland for 8 years until 2023 when Donald Tusk came to power. And what this now means is that the president is not just sort of a figurehead here in Poland. So the president has a lot of powers in terms of vetoing legislation and initiatives by the prime minister. So this is going to likely cause quite a bit of deadlock and paralysis. This was the sort of hope that Donald Tusk could sort of consolidate his power and get some of his agenda through. And part of the reason that he did not, potentially his candidate didn't do so well in this election, is that there had been some difficulty.
Hey, Drew, you know that Noam visited Poland and spoke at the CPAC promoting the right-wing dude. Yeah, the MAGA guys really worked hard in this election.
Getting these things through due to the presidential veto. So that is likely to endure and likely to continue. As far as the sort of Europeans are concerned.
Wow, they can veto legislation, serve 2 5-year terms, signs off on ambassador appointments, represents Polo at NATO summits. Wow,
that has sort of large implications at a time when the EU is sort of waging trade war against the United States, and having a candidate that is very sort of EU skeptical, stepping away from some of the initiatives of the sort of pro-European, pro-Brussels initiative is something that's going to resonate far beyond the borders of Poland.
Yeah, and we're keeping a close eye on developments, obviously, between Ukraine and Russia. What are the implications, as you were just talking about, beyond Poland, also for European politics and potentially for NATO as well, Ollie?
By the way, guys, if you're watching, please leave a like on the stream. I think we've got 40 viewers live. If you can leave a like on the stream, that would be that'd be really appreciated. I think we've got 50 likes on the video. The more likes, YouTube recommends us to more people. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys can leave a like on the video. It would be great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so one of the issues that we've touched just there was in Brussels. Of course, Poland is playing a much larger starring role within Europe. Its economy is doing extremely well. It's expected to go 3.3% this year.
I think this is
it's been a
Bloomberg
staunch
News, Max.
supporter of Ukraine. It is the first NATO member to be hitting 5% on defense spend, and has been really urging other countries across Europe and across NATO to get those sort of spending numbers higher. Of course, on the issue of Ukraine, this is one of the countries where the far right-wing candidate and the central candidate really do see more or less eye to eye. There is a sort of distinction here. Karol Nawrocki saying that basically that the line should be drawn that Ukraine should not be able to join NATO, whereas the centrist sort of counterpart was suggesting that they should be able to do that. But of course, you had the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary here in Poland just days after the first round of the election endorsing the right-wing candidate. This is another sort of example that we've seen.
That's crazy to have the Americans literally intervening in European politics like that and literally endorsing people.
Of the MAGA movement, the Trump administration coming in to domestic European politics and effectively endorsing a candidate, an endorsement which I wouldn't really say necessarily has a huge deal in terms of swaying the electorate, but it just shows you sort of how interested the Trump administration is in sort of pushing these right-wing candidates and creating more sort of disharmony within the EU at a time when the sort of EU unity is being tested in a radical way as it's dealing with this trade war. And this again will send another signal that that potentially you don't have quite as much support as Brussels would like to see at this time.
Interesting. Let's see as well. Drew, will the CCP ever have a chairwoman? Is the CCP a misogynist organization? I don't think there's going to be a CCP chairwoman anytime soon. I don't think there's even any. I think there's like basically no women at the top echelons of the Chinese government. I don't think there's even ministers or anything like that. Top ministers, at least.
Poland is right in the middle of a geopolitical crossfire.
This makes me sad. Yes, so sad because of length. It's very sad, isn't it?
This election matters a lot. Now all its eyes are on the presidential race. 2 contenders in the spotlight and 2 powerful rivals behind the scenes. Will this end the political deadlock, or is this a shift back to the right? The Polish
Drew, post more in the Twitter community so we can grow. I will. Good idea. Good idea. I
presidential
will.
elections are finally over. And yes, we actually have a winner. Now you're probably thinking, didn't Poland just have an election? And you'd be right. In Poland, presidential elections are held in 2 rounds. The first round took place 2 weeks ago, where 13 candidates faced off, all vying for the top spot. In the end, Rafał Trzaskowski, from the centrist Civic Platform and a close ally of Donald Tusk, secured 31.4% of the vote. Karol Nawrocki, an independent backed by the Conservative Law and Justice Party, in short PiS, came in second with 29.5% of the vote. But in Poland, to win outright in the first round, a candidate has to win.
Guys, you know who was the really insane guy? This Braun guy. He's the one who like constantly attacks Jews, and I think he did a fire extinguisher in Parliament against like basically a menorah candle display. This guy, Grzegorz Braun. It's kind of scary they got 6% of the vote. He's like a really unhinged figure.
More than 50% of the national vote to clinch the presidency outright. And that almost never happens. So typically, the 2 top candidates move to a second round. And that's exactly what happened this time. Trzaskowski and Nawrocki advanced to the second round, which took place last night and determined Poland's president for the next 5 years.
What do you guys think when it comes to the Polish elections? Is this going to be is this going to be bad for Ukraine? Let me know. I'd appreciate it. I think we've got some people from Eastern Europe here. I'd really appreciate it if they wanted to add their comments. I'm gonna go back to Twitter and maybe assess some of the information there. Some of these European far rights are not as scary. Yeah, some of them are like literally scary, right? Some of them are scary. That Braun guy is really scary. The bot problem on Twitter is really bad. Okay, let me go through some of my tweets. Nixon was an angry man that night. Watching the film West Side Story, a musical version of Romeo and Juliet, updated as a story of love and hate among Italian Americans, Puerto Ricans, in modern New York City. The president walked out before it was finished, grumbling, "I can't stand any more of this propaganda." That's beautiful. Beautiful. Drew, I'm a bot and you enjoy my contributions. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Take the modern Poland versus People's Poland. Who did population exchanges, push Jews out, and had close to the 0 foreigners? And what country has increasing multi-ethnic migration, a large share of the neighboring? Communists created staff so that post-communist Democrats could use drones to destroy it all. So fucking crazy. Branko's a fucking unhinged, like, tanky, basically, from Eastern Europe. He's really unhinged. Post-communists have certainly turned out to be terrible at keeping the peace in Europe, yet because the alternative to communism in Eastern Europe was always an extremist nationalism. And this great comment by Dev Croix is so true. Like, it was literally communist Poland that pushed all the Jews out of the country, had close to 0 foreigners, and it's literally the current Poland that's much more multicultural. Isn't that funny? Ukraine that disallows any minority languages. Just what a joke, man. What a joke. He really is crazy. Branko's a tanky, really bad tanky. I'd assume the conservative candidate would be more hardline anti-Russia. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. Drew, what's the geography of your YouTube audience? I think it's like half Europe. Actually, that's a good point. Let me try to figure it out. Actually, I'll go to my video analytics quickly and try to find out what the geography looks like. Let me see. Analytics, audience. How do you find it? Okay, so top geographies of the past 28 days. 35% of my viewers come from Australia, 21% US, 5% UK. Let me check that. Let me see. Let me assess that based on the live streams. So the live streams are 40% Australia, 16% US, 4% UK, and then the rest kind of like Europe. Interesting. Okay, interesting. That is interesting. Probably it's more Australian because of the time that I'm doing the streams. Your streams are goated for background noise when I'm studying. Please keep doing this so I can study for my exam in a month, lol. Yeah, thank you, Monsieur, of course. That sounds good to me. I guess it's funny that a lot of people seem to do that as like a sort of background thing. Like they just have a stream on in the background. I personally don't understand doing that. I don't think I could study like that, but I mean, to each to his own. Drew, you need more homoerotic vibes to appeal to a European audience. That's so true. So true. That's extremely true, right, guys? Golden Dawn in Greece were probably the scariest of the recent far-right parties in Europe. I think you're right, Con. I think like they literally got banned in Greece as like a terrorist organization. They literally killed a lot of people. They killed dozens of people in terrorist attacks, assassinations, targeting both refugees and leftists, young leftists like trade unionists and stuff like that. They are really, really unhinged organization, the Golden Dawn. They literally got banned in Greece as a terrorist group. Just going to be retweeting the stream so that more people join us. And remember, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like. The more likes on our stream, the more YouTube will recommend us to more people. Perfect time for Europe, actually. What time is it in Europe, actually, right now? Pickles LeBlanc says, I study while your stuff is on. You know, to each his own. You're streaming and I'm at work right now. That's funny. That's funny. Drew, Destiny is streaming until 2 EST. Leech all his viewers until then. What is it? EST time. Hang on. Wait, is he streaming right now? No men and women's thoughts. You got to speak up about that. Drew, Destiny is streaming at 2 EST. Leech all his viewers. How am I supposed to leech all his viewers? Andrew says it's lunchtime in Europe. That's great. I mean, that's pretty good. 10 hours behind. Yeah, look, I think 12:45. Yeah, see, Europe time is actually really easy. As a kid, I had Adult Swim late at night. In 2025, I have Drew Pavlou. Would have Harvey Berman on the screen. This is very powerful, guys. The Drew Pavlou show is rising. Drew, what do you think of Macron being smacked by his missus? Apparently, she was his school teacher. Lol. What does that say? It was actually extremely weird, wasn't it? It was extremely weird. The whole Macron and his wife thing. My mum is very insistent that Macron's wife is a man. My mum believes that. She's a big Candace Owens supporter. My mum. What can you do? I've tried to convince her that this is not true. I can't convince my mum otherwise. She's obsessed with this idea that Bridget Macron is a man. Have you ever wished to date your teacher like Macron? I think I only found like one female teacher hot in my career at high school. I think I found like one of my high school teachers hot. Drew, your stream with Lindy was at 4 a.m. here. Oh, that's not good. That's a pretty bad time. I'm sorry for that. Let's see. The problem with Branko is that he obviously knows, but he just genuinely hates all the modern stuff up to a degree that he will go writing about how the Eastern Europeans are real Nazis compared to the French National Rally, which didn't have any collaborationist connections at all. Yeah, like Branko is literally going to be doing apologia for Nazis. Crazy shit. Drew is deaf trolling about his mum being MAGA. No, I'm not even trolling. My mum is a massive MAGA supporter. My mum is a massive MAGA supporter. My dad is a supporter of Trump, but he's a bit more reasonable. Like my dad would admit to me, for example, that he thought it was bad what Trump did to Zelensky in the Oval Office and stuff like that. Whereas my mum is like a full sort of MAGA diehard. Like she thinks like everything Trump does is good. And she likes Candace Owens and she thinks Bridget Macron is a man and shit. So my mum is much more hardcore Trump. My dad is a conservative, but he's not like he's a lot more reasonable, I think, when it comes to stuff like Ukraine. He can admit that when Trump does stuff, it can sometimes be stupid. Like I think he admitted that the trade stuff was stupid, but my mum, like full MAGA, like I don't think I think she'll defend anything he ever does. When is Vanessa coming? Vanessa will hopefully be on the stream. I think hopefully this week. We'll definitely try to do it this week. This is my last week of exams for university, so I've just basically got to smash out this week of university, and then I'm going to be so much more. I'm going to be so much more free. There's AFD Vox. My wife kicked me in the balls after finding out I had an affair. Steve, is this true? Okay, dude. Monsieur says he's a UK viewer. Good stuff. King of Corinth says he's center right. Likes Candace Owens. Like, lol, Candace Owens is trying to free Harvey Weinstein. She's fucking nuts, isn't she? King of Corinth admits that the trade stuff was retired. Drew, are your parents okay with their info being online? Just check with them, mate. Mad respect to your phone. Yeah, no, they've done interviews with the press before in Australia. They did a interview with 60 Minutes in Australia. Why is every Greek diasporoid a religious conservatard? My parents aren't really religious at all. I mean, like they're nominally Christian, but they're not really religious. And look, I love my Greek icons and stuff like that. I am a Greek Orthodox Christian, but I have to say I got these Orthodox icons more as a cultural thing because I think they look beautiful. I'm certainly not like a hardcore religious like separatist or anything like that. I'm pretty secular in my political outlook at the very least. I do love Greek Orthodoxy. I do believe in Jesus. Like I am a Christian. But like I got the icons more for cultural reasons than religious reasons. I hope nobody thinks that I'm going to be like this like hardcore Orthodox like fascist or something like that on my stream just because I put them here. Apparently Greeks do prefer political extremes for some reason. I don't know about that. Drew, did you see 50 Cent claiming that Trump was considering pardoning? That's crazy. If Trump pardoned Diddy, that's probably the most nuts thing he ever does. Yeah, in Greece, the extremes are pretty much a minority. And I think Golden Dawn maxed out at about 15% of the vote before they got banned. I think Golden Dawn never really got more than 15% of the vote, I'm pretty sure. Golden Dawn is a pretty psycho organization. They sent volunteers to Serbia during the Yugoslav wars to like slaughter people in Bosnia. Yeah, they're a really psycho organization. Steve says, I think your mum is fantastic, funny, and devoted to kicking you out. Amen. Amen. We love my mum. Rest in peace, Poland. Touch fucking wood about most insane thing Trump ever does, Drew. Wait, Pickles, are you asking me what I think the most insane Trump thing is? If Trump pardoned Diddy, it's proof he killed Epstein. Do you think Trump should pardon Chauvin? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Also, it would be silly as well. He's like, if Trump pardoned Chauvin, he still serves 25 years of a state sentence. So you would just be doing something that would create massive racial unrest in America and create lots of protests. And he's not even going to be out of prison. It's just like, it would be a crazy move if he did that. If you had to move to Europe, which top 3 cities would you go to? That's a great question, actually. Great question. I don't know. You know what? I really did love Kiev. When I went to Kiev, it was a beautiful city. I really loved it. Where would I move? I mean, probably London, even though London is sadly becoming pretty bad. I probably would still move to London just because I guess it's easy because of the English language and stuff like that. I don't know. Where else? Maybe Paris. I love Paris, but I don't speak French, so that would be difficult. Syriza government was legit bad and unfortunate. Yeah, it's not good, eh? Syriza was pretty bad government. What's the most insane thing you can imagine Trump doing? I think the scariest thing would be if he legitimately tries to stop another election. Yeah, dude, this is a great comment by the average Joe. Poland is as rich as Japan now. What is Branko's point? He's just literally a miserable old boomer. Literally just like a miserable old boomer. You know what? I'm actually going to go back and I'm actually going to literally leave that comment. That's a great comment, honestly. Hang on, where's the why the fuck is Branko complaining about Poland? Branko, it's a real shame. It's a real shame. This guy, he's actually a very famous economist, but he's just a massive boomer when it comes to European politics. Despite the fentanyl situation, I think it's retarded to pardon Chauvin. I don't think there's a case for pardoning Chauvin. How do you think the Polish elections will impact the war? I'm not an expert on Polish politics. I don't know that. I would love to have somebody on the stream to explain it to us. I certainly am. I'm more of a supporter of Donald Tusk and his government and Radek Sikorski, who is married to Anne Applebaum. I think those people are pretty good. So Chauvin is a murderous, full stop. Amsterdam would not be your sort of place, Drew. Pickles LeBlanc says that. Is that because of the weed? King of Corinne says London is horrible. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad, eh? I don't speak Arabic, so I can't move to London. Drew, what do you think of Wilfred Riley? Hang on, 1 second. Wilfred Riley. I don't think I've really... Oh, Wilfred Riley. Yeah, no. I know his Twitter account. I like some of his posts. Look, I don't agree with everything because he's much more conservative than I am, but I think I do appreciate when he sometimes takes on the sort of race scientists on the far right and stuff like that. I'll bring him up on the stream. 7% was the highest election result GD got in a Hellenic Parliament, 9% EU Parliament. Yeah, I know that, Marcius. I think I was talking about the polling when I said I think they maxed out about 12, 13% polling, around 15% maybe. But you're right that the highest election result was 7% in the Hellenic Parliament, 9% in the EU Parliament. Mercado Media did a stream on the 5-year anniversary of Floyd's death. The amount of kids killed by cops is insane. Oh, there's a lot of bad shit in America. My favorite European cities, Edinburgh, Amsterdam, and Nice. I'd love to go to Nice. And I'd love to go to Edinburgh. I haven't been to Amsterdam yet either. You don't want to be in America and be heavily tanned. Yeah. Life in Poland is good right now. They decide to turn against Ukrainians because they have no brown immigrants. Are you saying that they're turning against Ukrainians, Ole? Drew, do you think AUKUS will continue if Australia becomes Indian, the US becomes Latino, and Britain becomes Muslim? Seems unlikely unity will persist. Look, I don't think there's going to be I don't think Britain is going to become Muslim. I don't think US is going to become. I don't think all these countries are going to be completely wholesale changed. Obviously, we've got hundreds of years of history. I took the walk to Poland. Hey Drew, have Wilfred Riley on the stream DM. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Actually, I literally will. I literally will. Would love to host you on. Yeah, it'd be cool to have Wilfred Riley on. We can discuss. Wow, didn't know he was married to Applebaum. Yeah, isn't it crazy? Sikorsky is married to Applebaum. And I think Sikorsky is so fucking cool. He literally spent time in Afghanistan during the like jihad against the Soviets. He hated the Russians so much. He's a really cool guy, Sikorsky. I think Sikorsky is an incredibly impressive person. And that's his wife, Anne Applebaum. I think they're cool. I really like Anne Applebaum. I like her book. She's retweeted me once before. Drew, if you go to London, move somewhere nice like Surrey. I don't know if I'll go to London. Would you have Bill Shorten on the stream if I could get him? Yeah, dude, I really want to have Bill Shorten on the stream. And you know what? Bill Shorten's daughter has been on the stream a couple times commenting, and she actually said she's going to ask her dad. So I hope we can get him on. And I'm friends with Andrew Landew, who is long-term Bill Shorten's best mate. They go back like 30 years. So I once met Bill Shorten through Andrew. I just became friends with Andrew Landew because he was husband to Kimberly Kitching, and you know, Kimberly Kitchen was the one Labor senator who supported me when the University of Queensland was expelling me. And Landy is a really funny guy. You might have seen his comments in the stream sometimes. Will you ask Bill Shorten about immigration? Sure, I'll ask him about immigration. Yeah, this election in Poland, I can't get Bill Shorten, but I was curious. Listen, I think we can actually get Bill Shorten on the stream. I think we're going to be able to. I think his daughter, Chloe Shorten, was literally commenting on the stream and has subscribed to the channel. I think she literally donated $2 as a super chat one time. She literally said she'd try to get her dad to join in. So, Warsaw could be a good place to do it. Yeah, no, honestly, I've been to Poland and I was really impressed by how I've been really impressed by how beautiful Poland is. I've actually, you know what's funny? I've literally been to Poland twice. You know what's a funny fact? I've been to Poland more times than I've been to Cyprus. So I've been to Poland twice, and I've actually spent a couple of weeks in Poland. And honestly, I think Poland is such a beautiful country. I really loved staying in Krakow for a week in 2022 when we were running supplies to Ukraine. Honestly, Krakow is beautiful. Poland is beautiful. I've been really impressed by how beautiful Poland is. It's really developing well. Like it's really like Poland is really progressing in leaps and bounds, and it's almost about to overtake. The UK in terms of per capita GDP, which is amazing. Look, the UK is not that bad. You just need to avoid the shit areas. Look, it's really sad because I think outside of London and a few major cities, it has become quite poor in the UK, honestly, which is sad. Berlin is honestly not bad with crime. It's just a bit trashy and gross, but it's safer than Paris or London as it's mainly just degenerate white lives. That's a funny comment. Poland is not degrowth like other EU cities. Yeah, literally, dude. Like the fact that I think that's the big difference, right? The big difference is that Poland is Poland embraces growth. All these other European countries have embraced degrowth, and degrowth is a disaster. Degrowth is a disaster. I see a comment by Swindon saying shit areas are non-white. Listen, I don't agree with that racism, Swindon. That's not good. That's not good. Scotland. I've never been to Scotland. I'd love to go to Scotland, actually. I'd love to go on a holiday there. I'd love to go to... I need to go back to Europe, honestly. Drew Pablo, with your status as a public figure, did you engage in the contemporary romantic proactive or sending or receiving nudes? I don't do that. I don't do that. That's funny. That's a very funny comment. Honestly, because I am increasingly a kind of public figure, I am trying to be pretty restrained in my private life. You know, I've been in a relationship for a long time, and I'm pretty quiet in my personal life, believe it or not. Imagine if Bill Clinton had a smartphone in 1996. Oh, that would not have been good. That would not have been good. Let's see. What else is important to cover on Twitter? I mean, you know what we haven't covered at all? We haven't covered the crazy terrorist attack in America in Boulder. We haven't covered that yet. Australia pulls its weight in the region, but the US keeps moving the goalposts. Elbridge Colby said we need to hit 3%. Now Hexer say 3.5%. This is a clown show right now. Yeah, that's actually a good point. That's a good point. It is kind of bullshit that they're just constantly changing. Drew, put on you've been lied to about the history of money, Richard Werner. Probably not today, Max. Maybe I'll put it in the future. Drew doesn't want to end up like Harry Sisson. Harry Sisson is a goat. I actually want to get Harry Sisson on the stream. You know what? I'll ask Harry Sisson if he'll join the Drew Pavlo show. Let me ask Harry Sisson. Guys, you can see my messages with Harry Sisson. He said, thank you for defending me, which is very funny. Your post about me in this whole situation is so funny. Seriously, I appreciate it. You're the GOAT. We love Harry Sisson. Harry Sisson's very goated. Drew, DM Hunter Ash to have him on the stream. Okay, I will. I'll message Hunter Ash as well. There's a lot of people I need to message on the stream. This is why we need to build up a team, guys. This is why I need to raise $1 million. We need to have like a booking agent, right? To get people on the Drew Pavley show. Make it a full Piers Morgan style thing. Yeah, hopefully I'll get Hunter Ash on. He's a pretty interesting Twitter user. He has a crazy background. I think Hunter Ash was a former transgender prostitute, but is now conservative. So good on him. It's an interesting background, I think. If John Howard had been involved in the similar scandal to Bill Clinton, would the Australian people have forgiven him in your view? No, absolutely not. Because John Howard just had, there's different types of charisma, right? There's different types of charisma. Like if you look at someone like John Howard or Angela Merkel or whatever, they have a particular type of charisma that we don't traditionally see as charisma, right? It's just kind of like dependable, quiet, measured sort of thing. Whereas like Bill Clinton certainly has a kind of like more telegenic type charisma. He's a type of charisma that, you know, he's on the television, he's playing the saxophone and stuff like that. I think Barack Obama had that type of charisma too. So I think there's different levels of charisma. And I think John Howard, I think someone like Bill Clinton, I mean, it did hurt him a lot. The affairs hurt him a lot. But he probably, I mean, he's kind of survived them. And I guess the way he survived them is I guess he's a very charismatic guy. I think someone like John Howard, who has a persona as a dependable, measured, quiet bloke, like I think if it happened to him, he'd be like destroyed, right? I think it's just different personalities. I think that's why Trump, there's all this crazy shit about Trump, but he gets away with it to an extent because people have an understanding of Trump as this kind of like crazy figure. Somebody like you get what I mean, right? Does this make sense? Like, the way people see Trump, you know, nobody thinks of him as like a sort of standard, like kind of like, you know, no one thinks of Trump as like a sort of Ned Flanders type figure. Whereas John Howard is kind of almost like a Ned Flanders type figure from The Simpsons, you know, like he's just like old Christian guy, he's dependable, measured, quiet. He's not flashy. So I think it literally depends on your public persona. Like these guys who are more flashy, if they've already got a public persona that they're a bit, you know, they're a bit out there and stuff, sometimes they can survive things that, you know, somebody who's just much more like of a kind of like straight down the line politician can't survive things. And you know what? Like, I actually kind of hope that, obviously, this is the problem, right? If I ever want to join Australian politics, I know that people are going to bring up like hundreds of my tweets and they'll bring up my Malcolm X tweets and they'll be like, oh my God, look at this guy. He's so unhinged and stuff like that. But I guess I sort of hope that I've got a bit of the Trump effect in the way that like, I don't know, like if you're just like, if you're just yourself, right? If you just are yourself and you've said so much funny stuff over the years and so much silly stuff, like past a certain point, like I think some of this stuff kind of like bounces off you a bit. I don't know. That's my kind of opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think if I ever tried to get into Australian politics, people would actually hold against me like some of my tweets and stuff? I know that they'd try, but you're autistic, Drew. You can't change who you are. So true. Like for example, you know, it's a really good example. Like people would use the fact that like I've used like the word retard on Twitter hundreds of times. Like they'd use that to attack me. But like I would just say, listen, I've got like ADHD. To be honest, I thought you were serious about the Malcolm X stuff. Dude, I've got a sense of humor, okay? Come on, like I'm a funny bloke. Do you think people like Hassan should be banned off major platforms in the wake of the recent anti-Semitic attacks? Certainly has to be looked into. Certainly has to be looked into, right? Like he's literally encouraging sort of these attacks. Max Hooper says this: John Howard appealed to the base conservatism of the Australian public, relaxed and comfortable, ignorance is bliss. I don't think he's the type of guy who survives a cheating scandal, right? You're right, Pickles LeBlanc. Bob Hawke would have gotten away with it. Probably Paul Keating. Yeah, I think it just basically depends on somebody's persona, probably in politics a lot of the time. Come on, Drew, just one YouTube of Sons of Liberty with admin TP. Okay, dude, I'll put that on. I know you've been asking for that for ages. I'll put that on for a little bit. I actually do agree with Max Hooper here that like anybody who has an independent thought in Australia just gets cut down to sides. Like, you know what's funny, right? Like I've previously tweeted that Australia should get nuclear weapons. Like if I wanted to run for pre-selection, that's the type of thing they'd screenshot and they'd be like, holy shit, look at how unhinged this guy is. and just because I've had like an independent thought of my own at some point over the past 30 years, right? It's very hard. We do have tall poppy syndrome in Australia. Anybody who ever says anything interesting ever just gets fucking destroyed. It's very sad. I would like to be involved in Australian politics one day, but I just don't think there's space for somebody like me in it right now, which is sad. Is this what you want me to look at, Steve Same? What one do you want me to watch? We don't live in the Australia of John Howard anymore. I mean, that's true. I think that's true. I'd go into Laura Loomer style support if you run. What do you mean? That's very funny, Average Joe. Bob Hawke did get away with it. Yeah, Bob Hawke was a pretty crazy figure. Con Melanitis says, man, we need a sex scandal in Australian politics. It's about time. That's very funny. Easy Money says, I'd rather have tall poppy syndrome than a country that elects Trump. But can't we have like a sort of middle of the road? Can't we have a middle of the road where it's like, we don't elect Trump, but we can still have some people with a bit of a personality? Because I think just in general, the fact that like so few Australian politicians have personality is pretty sad. Like, I think it's bad. Like everyone's really, everyone's just like really, really like by the book, really scripted. Hang on. Anyone, Drew? Cheers. No, the Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty game, Drew. Drew is the perfect candidate for Rennick's party. Nah, dude, I don't think so. I have had coffee with Rennick before. I had coffee with Rennick in 2019, I think. We were discussing China and stuff like that. And I remember he started talking to me and he was like, Drew, you know Bashar al-Assad, you know, the globalists are against him. And I was like, nah, listen, Rennick, I don't agree with you on that stuff. No, I don't think Lambie would be a prime minister. I think there are some aspects to Lambie that are good, but I don't think she'd be a good prime minister. Howard resisted change at every opportunity, attached himself to Bush's asshole like a limpet and never let go. That's what Max says. You know what? I'd love to try and get like John Howard or like Tony Abbott on a stream sometime and like literally try and interview some of these politicians. It'd be interesting. Australia yearns for the sensible centre. But can't we have a sensible centrist like Drew Pavlou who has a bit of a fucking humour to him, maybe? Have Destiny debate either Hunter Ash or Wilfred Riley. It'd be insane. Actually, that's a good idea. That is a good idea, actually. Maybe I can try set that up. Okay, maybe I'll try set that up.
The classic tale of
Western Hegemony Enjoy says this. I really like what you're getting at here. Liberals need to have a moderate message and moderate agenda that's conveyed in a radical way. Yeah, radical centrism, dude. Literally radical centrism. Drew, does Australia have a libertarian party? We do, but unfortunately, our libertarian party is literally pro-Russia in Australia. It fucking sucks, dude. It fucking sucks. John Ruddock is the leader, I think, and he's really, really pro-Russia. Like literally full supporter of Putin and stuff like that, which really, really sucks. I think there was a comment, somebody asking me to baptize a child. Like, sure, dude, if you want me to do that, that'd be funny. Peter says, Drew, may you please baptize my fourth son? Sure, dude. Congratulations on having 4 sons. I would love to baptize one of my viewers' sons, even though we've got different political views. I'd be very happy to do that. Drew should be Rennick's policy advisor. I can give it advice on foreign policy, maybe. Australia likes a larrikin. If you make them laugh, you get away with more. That's interesting, Max. I hope you're right. Like, listen, I am a bit of a larrikin. I like to make people laugh. But it seems that like a lot of people in Australian politics hate me. A lot of people seem to think of me as just like an annoying troublemaker. It's hard. I think it's a bit of like a mixed bag, like where like they'll tolerate a larrikin to an extent, but if you go too much, like they'll get annoyed with you. No, it's the start of clown war politics. The PM must be a normal bloke without pretense. You have Douglas MacArthur style ego. Dude, I don't have Douglas MacArthur style ego. What makes you think that? That's so not true. You're exactly right. Our quality of politician has declined. They're also boring with no independent thought or personality. Like Max said, tall poppy syndrome. That is sadly the case, I think. Too much power. Libertarians are usually just isolationist retards who whine about taxes. But the libertarians in Australia are fully pro-Kremlin, which is crazy. Isn't Rennick a cooker? Yeah, look, on a lot of views, he is pretty cooked. On a lot of views, he is cooked. And like, he thinks, I think he thinks there's like an international Rothschilds conspiracy and stuff like that. I do not agree with him and stuff like that. And I think he's also one of those people who thinks that like vaccines have killed like 1 billion people. Again, I don't think that's true, but DM Destiny about a debate with Wilfred or Hunter Ash. Okay, I'm gonna message Destiny now. I'll ask him if we can do another. Okay, I've messaged Destiny. Let's see if that works. We like our larrikins, but not as leaders. You're a Senate man. Maybe you're right. We've got a comment by Andrew Hennessy about Bill Landieu. Listen, Andrew, I think that Andrew, can I respond to this slander against Bill Landieu? Listen, the woman who made that allegation, Bob Hawke's daughter, was a well-known heroin addict for a long, long time. A well-known heroin addict. So I think you have to be really, really careful about those allegations. It was during a massive fight over his estate, which was valued at millions of dollars. So you really need to have some. You have to have you have to take it with a grain of salt, Andrew Hennessy. I know Andrew Hennessy is like a conservative guy. I don't think he'd be agreeing with every single Me Too allegation under the sun. So I think you should take with a grain of salt this allegation against Andrew Landieu's father, considering it was made by a woman decades after the fact, and she was a well-known heroin addict for some very long years. Max says this: Australians have largely lost their trademark sense of humor. We are now a beaten down people of conformists. I think that's sadly happening. I think your popularity will probably be much higher with young people, but your personality might turn off old people who themselves tend to lack personality. Maybe, you know what, Western Hegemony enjoy? Sometimes I have old people like me though, because they're like, you're a good young bloke who's patriotic and anti-CCP. Bring it up on stream, Drew. Drew, Australia is not ready for a charismatic Trump-style politician such as yourself. I see potential maybe 10, 20 years down the line. Everyone is too comfortable in Australia right now. But I'm not a Trump. You know what the funny thing is? I'm like a liberal Trump in a way, in the sense that like my politics are like liberal and centrist. Like in America, I'd be a Democrat, but I guess my sense of humor is kind of Trump style, and the way I attack people is maybe Trump style. I think it's a funny combination, and I think it makes people. Some people struggle with it because I think a lot of lefties just automatically hate me because they think like, oh well, if he acts like egotistical, he must be this bad right wing guy. It's funny. It's a strange phenomenon. My mum always says to me, Drew, one day you will admit you're the most Trump-like person in existence. I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. I'm so against everything Trump does. One of my other friends said, you're so against Trump probably because you see yourself in him. I don't agree at all. Easy Money says, love you, Drew. Thanks for always listening to me. I do always listen to you, man. Thanks for your help supporting my stream and everything. As president, will you share nuclear weapons with Taiwan? I would. That'd be goated. Any response from that Perun guy? I don't think I've messaged Perun, but one thing I didn't mind about Dan Andrews was that he had conviction about where he wanted to take Victoria, and he was able to prosecute that well. He had some guts. I don't think Australians are relaxed or comfortable anymore. You can be the Ted Kennedy of Australian politics, Drew. That's it. Look, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I've got a Ted Kennedy book here. I've got a Ted Kennedy book in my library. He was a great bloke. Hopefully, I can be a Ted Kennedy for Australian politics. Just no Chappaquiddick, no horrible scandal like that, please. No, Australian humour exists. Utopia still on Drew. Utopia still on TV. You're eccentric, Drew. I am eccentric, but I honestly think that eccentricity is one of the best parts to life. I don't like everybody being the exact same. You don't want everyone to be a cookie cutter politician. You want some people who have a bit of zest for life, some people who are humorous, some people who can take the piss out of themselves. I take the piss out of myself all the time. I make jokes and stuff like that. Somebody says the golden ticket is Rennick and Pavley. I don't think I agree with Rennick on that much stuff, guys. Aesthetics matter though. The Democratic Party would happily welcome you in the US. Maybe I need to move to America, guys. I want a leader who is humble. Even ScoMo got off that guy's lawn. Maybe I'm not humble enough. Don't compare yourself to Trump. Trump has an IQ of room temperature in an igloo. I don't mean in that way. I just mean in like my sense of humor, probably Western hegemony. That's what I mean. That's a compliment from your mum if she loves Trump. True. The thing with Trump is you can't be that stupid in Australia. Prime Minister Freya Leach. Do you guys reckon there'll be a Prime Minister Freya Leach? You know what? I should actually have Freya Leach on the show sometime. That'd be funny. I agree. You'd be a good ceremonial president like Ireland, cutting ribbons and such. Come on, dude. I've got good policy proposals. If I was in charge, if I was in charge right now, I'd fully implement the abundance agenda. I reckon I'd do well. I would listen to the experts. I'd introduce policy by smart people. ScoMo got off that guy's lawn, but impersonated him in a derogatory way. You could be the Boris Yeltsin. No, thanks, Max. I'm not a drunk like that. Can you get Richard Spencer on the show? I probably could. I probably actually could. I've talked to him a couple times. I personally think that you are more fit for social media. Having a very attention-grabbing personality is great if you're trying to build a social media career. Yeah, listen, I've actually thought this before. I've thought maybe my role in politics is to be more of maybe like a media commentator guide rather than being actually personally involved in politics. I'm not sure. I love politics. It's something I'm really passionate about. But maybe I don't know. Maybe with my personality, maybe I'm just more suited to be a type of like a media type guy. Maybe like a sort of like radio type guy. You know, I mean, the live show is almost kind of like a radio program, right? It's like literally just me responding to the audience for like hours and hours. It's good fun though. I like it. I probably could do some radio type stuff. I really enjoy it. I probably don't have a voice for radio. Maybe I need to take voice training lessons. I believe Hassan Piker recently took voice training lessons, which is really funny. Drew Pavlo, you should have Brad Palumbo on stream. I don't know who that is. Brad Palumbo. Who's Brad Palumbo? I'll have a look at it.
The Trump-loving, MAGA-wearing alpha male who...
Your thoughts on the Alan Joyce scandal? Which particular Alan Joyce scandal? There's quite a few.
Can't get it together. You know, the one where your wife leaves you for some beta-wage who's got a better Instagram filter and a haircut that doesn't make you look...
You should call your stream Drew's Fireside Chats. Actually, that's a great idea, Max. You've actually had a brilliant idea there. Maybe I actually should do that. Drew's Fire Show Chats. Guys, what do you reckon? Drew Pavlo Show or Drew's Fireside Chats? He follows you on Twitter. Okay, I'll have a look at it. Guys, actually, that's a great... Max, you've actually had a great comment there. This is the thing with Max. Max, I will have you on the show at some point. Honestly, Max, you should even... Max, you live like relatively nearby. You can literally come by and literally be in person in the studio if you want. But Max, you know what's funny? Like, obviously, I disagree with you a lot on like foreign policy and stuff like that. But every now and then, Max does come up with a genius idea. I have to say, Drew's Fireside Chats. I do like that a lot. The Drew Pavlo Show versus the Drew's Fireside Chats. I think that's a good idea. Drew's Fireside Chats. I fucking love that actually. Get the Elon Musk right off the screen.
I mean, come on, guys. You're not exactly setting the world on fire, are you? I'm pretty sure your most exciting adventure is trying to figure out how to use Twitter without getting roasted. Oh yeah,
Drew's Fireside Chats.
You're too busy worshiping the altar of Trump's ego and pretending like you're still relevant in 2025. That's not alpha. That's just sad. And by the way, have you seen your hair? That's some top-notch beta male material.
Drew's Fireside Chats. I do like that actually. Drew Fireside. Wait, hang on. Fireside Chats. The famous FDR moment. That was a fucking great idea by Max Super. Like, what the hell? He came up with a genius idea then. FDR Fireside Talk on religion. Oh, you're thinking of not Alan Joyce. You're thinking of Alan Jones. You know what? I actually went on Alan Jones before. Let me see if it's on YouTube. Obviously, he's a very controversial figure. He's facing a number of serious allegations before the courts. That's before the courts right now.
But for a moment in the third set, play was halted by a kerfuffle in the stands when the young Brisbane political activist...
You're the cool young online person of the Radical Centre. Someone for the young people to follow. An important role too. Thank you, The Average Joe. That's very nice of you, mate. Thank you so much. You should be in front of a fire in a chair, though. Maybe I just need to fucking install a fireplace in my fucking house. Oh, my God. Sounds good, but I lost my license. I mean, I could just literally pick you up if you want, Max. I mean, maybe on the weekend, maybe, Max. Maybe on the weekend. Was he weird to you at all? No, he was actually really respectful to me. Like, honestly, fair credit to Alan Jones. He was really respectful to me when I was talking to him.
Activist Drew Pavlo was removed from the centre court by security officials for holding up a sign, quote, "Where is Peng Shuai?" He said he wanted to highlight the plight of the Chinese tennis player Peng Shuai because she was...
I appreciate that comment, Pickles LeBlanc. Drew, you're not cool, but that makes you unique and different, which is the only way to be cool. That's a good point. I do think you got to be unique. I try to be myself. You know, the funny thing is I literally don't put on any airs. I'm literally the exact same. My Twitter personality is literally the exact same as I am in real life. I literally don't change anything.
An innocent woman, he said, being persecuted. Drew Pavlo said tennis authorities were protecting their massive Chinese sponsorship contracts at the expense of finding out what happened to Peng. Now, Peng Shuai is allegedly retired. In 2014, though, she was ranked the #1 doubles player in the world and number 14 in singles. Drew Pavlo then said on Twitter, quote, The Chinese government tried to wipe Peng Shui from the face of the earth because she came out and accused a top Chinese Communist Party official of sexual assault. And the saddest thing is, they've almost been successful in making everyone forget about her. I don't want people to forget, unquote. But for a moment in the third set, play was halted.
Listen, Alan Jones, very controversial figure. He's obviously before the courts right now. We let the courts determine the judgment there. The very serious allegations, obviously. Fair credit to him. When I went on his radio show, he was really nice to me. And I never detected anything dodgy about him or anything in just my own personal dealings with him. Fair credit to him, for example. Father Ted, are you a racist father? Okay, I'll put that on. That's actually funny. Father Ted thing is very funny. Yeah, what I respect about you, Drew, is your authenticity. Never give up your integrity and you will leap bounds. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much, Con. That's very nice of you. I disavow this. It's racist. We disavow it.
Come on, Dougal, lighten up.
Oh, gee. Oh, gee. Oh, no. Not good. Not good.
Dougal, there were Chinese people there. All right, yeah.
Max says, we don't always agree, but I watch your show because you're interesting. Thank you, Max. Thank you. It's funny, Max, because I know that, like, according to Robert Barwick, I am supposedly, like, fully bought off Zionist agent or whatever, but I'm literally not. Like, I literally just say what I believe to be true, okay? Like, that's literally my viewpoint on all these matters. And look, I often take unpopular stances. Like, the stance that I took when it came to opposing anti-Zionism is, like, extremely unpopular with leftists and young people. Like, it's probably I'd probably have lost less friends if I became a full Trump supporter. Seriously, like I lost a lot of friends over that Zionist stuff. But I just had to say, like, I thought that the Palestine movement was, like, it was going into very dark directions with, like, the celebration of October 7 and stuff like that. I had to just speak my mind. It was just my views, right? And like, I've actually been asked to go to Israel. I think I've been asked like 3 times now to go on a holiday to Israel and, like, go on a tour. And, like, I haven't gone. Like, I eventually I do want to go, but, like, I literally just do. I go out there. I just say what I think. I'm not, like, trying to fucking, like, gain Zionist influence or whatever.
I mean, what's the Yin family? They're living over there in that old Chinatown area. Chinatown area.
Listen, tell Robbie, Max, that I would actually like to debate him live on the show. Do it. We should do it. Drew, what do you think about Israel saying that Macron is on an anti-Israel crusade? I think it's very silly when Israel says that Macron is on an anti-Israel crusade. I think Macron has been pretty balanced. I think his position is basically just a two-state solution. Drew, was the Iraq war a good idea done very badly or a bad idea inherently? Listen, invading Iraq in 2003 was always a bad idea. The first Gulf War, when they invaded Iraq over the Kuwait crisis, the first Gulf War, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, annexed Kuwait, and America went in as part of an international coalition to expel them from Kuwait, if they had removed Saddam Hussein from power then, I think that would have been justified and it would have been a good idea. And I don't think that we would have had the same sectarian breakdown in Iraq if that had happened post the first Gulf War. It was really 2003 when it was just a true disaster.
There's a Chinatown in Crikey Island. Dougal, I wouldn't have done a Chinaman impression if I'd known there was going to be a Chinaman there to see me doing a Chinaman impression. Why not, Ted? Because it's racist. They'll think I'm a racist. I'm going to have to catch up with them and explain I'm not a racist.
Hello there, Father.
Hello, Colin. Out and about?
I am. Same as yourself.
Good.
Oh, shit, sorry. I was playing it too fast, guys.
I hear you're a racist now, Father.
What?
How did you get interested in that type of thing?
Who said I'm a racist?
Everyone's saying it, Father. Should we all be racist now? What's the official line the church is saying?
What's the official line of the church?
No, only the farm takes up most of the day, and at night I just like a cup of tea. I might be able to devote myself full time to the old racism.
Good for you, Father.
What? Oh, Mrs. Carberry.
Good for you, Father. Well, someone had the guts to stand up to them at last, coming over here, taking our jobs and our women, and acting like they own a second place. Well done, Father. Good for you. Good for you. I'd like a second.
It's a good comedy.
Second
the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after. I'm not after the Chinese.
It's not the Greeks he's after, it's the Chinese.
It isn't the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after. I'm not after the Chinese.
You know what? I should post that to Twitter. I think it'd be so funny. Imagine if I just post that to Twitter, just like no context. It's not the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after.
It isn't the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after. I'm not after the Chinese.
I don't care who he gets, so long as I can have a go at the Greeks. They invented gayness.
The Greeks invented gayness. You know, smart lady, smart lady. Thanks for giving us our historic national credit. Beautiful.
I'm not having a go at anybody. I am not a racist. All right? God.
Friggin' Greeks.
How's Mary?
She's fine. She got that job after.
Great.
Go on.
Beautiful stuff. That was very funny. What about, you know what we should watch? The Curb Your Enthusiasm Palestinian chicken thing. That's so fucking funny. Oh my God. This is the best episode.
All right, finally. There it is. I cannot believe we talked him into coming here.
He's going to love it. He's going to love it. Shalom. You know, I got on last night. If Rabin can break bread with Arafat, I can have chicken at this anti-Semitic shithole.
Okay. That's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's not good. What's not going to work?
The yarmulke. Yeah.
I can't go in with wearing this yarmulke.
You're just shoving it in their face.
Let's go in.
No.
It's
Dude, did you ever play Geopolitical Mad Libs? No, I don't think so.
far too cocky a move. What is this, the raid on Entebbe? Let's just kind of walk in.
Who should the Democrats choose for their nominee in 2020? I actually don't know. That's a tough one. I actually don't know at this point.
What? Proud Jews wear yarmulkes.
Yeah, be proud here in the parking lot. You don't need to be proud in there.
Let's just go in and sit down.
Take it off. Take it off.
I'm not doing anything. Don't you dare go after my yarmulke. Don't you reach for that.
I love Larry
Don't
David.
you
It's so
ever
funny.
touch that. No, don't ever grab my yarmulke. Give it to me. Don't ever grab my yarmulke, ever. How dare you? Don't ever touch my yarmulke. Do you understand?
What the hell is that? We're going to go eat without you. Good. Who needs you? Get out of here.
Oh, Palestinian. Oh my God. Larry David's so funny.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, well, hello.
You're a Jew, yes?
Yes, I am a Jew. A big Jew. Big.
Big Jew, and you still told him to take off his Jew cap.
Yes, I did.
Thank you, my friend. What's your name?
Labe.
Labe?
Comment here. Pete Booty Blaster Buttigieg would unironically be a good choice. Thanks for your comment, mate. Booty Blaster. Very funny. Did you already talk about why Russia hasn't even retaliated yet? We talked about that a little bit earlier. People projecting any American or any other country's religious ethnic tensions from outside the region onto the Israel-Palestine conflict is frustrating. Yeah, that's such an annoying thing, honestly.
Son of Nat.
Son of Nat.
My friends call me Larry.
My
I like you.
What's not to like?
Ah, you're a Jew. My name is Shara.
Shara.
Wow. That's what it's like if you're trying to pick up a babe at the Palestine protest, guys.
Let's get some chicken.
That's exactly what it's like if you're trying to pick up a Palestinian ego. Messed up. It's messed
Hey,
up.
let's get something to eat.
Okay.
You want to try out that Palestinian chicken place?
Let's do it. That's all I've ever heard is how great it is.
Fantastic. Okay,
All right.
let's go.
I've never had chicken like this.
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I don't know. It's unlike anything I've ever even tasted.
What about this place? Look at these posters. Huh?
Yeah, they do not like the Jews.
Huh? Look at that one.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
The Jews ever walked in here.
the sword over the Alquds.
What these people should do is send their chicken over to Israel.
For the peace process.
Mm-hmm.
They take down all those settlements in the morning. Believe me. You know what? This would be a fantastic place for Jews who are cheating on their spouses to come to. Because no Jews ever come here. They'd be so safe.
No one you know is going to ever see you here.
Larry
never
David's
get
so
caught.
fucking funny.
Ever.
Looks like they're planning the next intifada at this table. But look at this woman. Could be the next Mrs. David. What do you think about that?
If by some chance she's going to get over her anti-Semitism, odds are
not with me.
Not with you.
Really?
Just my gut feeling.
You know what it is? You're always attracted to someone who doesn't want you, right?
Right.
Well, here you have somebody who not only doesn't want you, doesn't even acknowledge your right to exist.
Yep.
Wants your destruction. That's a turn on.
I love Larry David. It's so fucking funny.
What's going on? We're rerouting traffic for a protest rally. Some Palestinian chicken place opening up next to a deli. Can you move forward, please?
Larry David's New Yorker piss take of Bill Maher's "My Dinner with Hitler" was hilarious. Bill Maher's still butthurt about. I did read that. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Larry David's a fucking funny guy.
Larry, come join us over here.
Come with us. You're a Jew.
No, Larry, come to this side and I'm yours. Larry, whenever you want, come over here.
Larry, you belong with us. Come.
There's no decision. Get over here. Larry, I have a sister. You, me, and Yasmin. All right, that's enough. Just get the fuck over here. Just get the fuck over here. Stop being an idiot. Larry, come over here. Larry,
Don't be
get over here. Just
don't be
listen to them,
Get
Larry.
over here.
Anything you want, Larry. Anything you want.
So fucking funny.
Side, and I'm yours. Larry, I'm yours whenever you want. Come.
This is the dilemma we all face at when we're at university, my friends.
No, Larry, come to this side, and I'm yours. Larry, I'm yours.
If you were Larry David, would you do the same? Oh, mate, it'd be a tough one. It'd be a tough one.
Whenever you want, come over here.
Larry, you belong with us. Come.
There's no decision. Get over here. Larry, I have a sister. You, me, and Yasmin. The three of us. All right, that's enough. Just get the fuck over here. Just get the fuck over here. Stop being an idiot. Larry, come over. Larry,
don't be
get over here. Just listen to them.
Fuck, he's funny. He's so fucking funny. Oh my god, man. I love it. Larry gets fatwood. Okay, we'll watch this and then I might end the stream tonight, guys. We'll watch this as the last video.
David, who you may know as the co-creator of Seinfeld, went on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night to talk about his new musical called Fatwa, in which the Ayatollah is one of the main characters.
He has a small harem. He has a fetish for redheads. And twice a year, he goes to Ireland on a harem shopping spree.
Today, the Ayatollah Abdullah Khamenei of Iran has accused Larry David of blasphemy, issuing an actual fatwa and calling for the death of the comedian. Here's what the Ayatollah had to say.
مثلا هنرمندی به اسم لری دیوید
Larry David.
And calling for the death of the comedian. Here's what the Ayatollah had to say.
مثلا هنرمندی به اسم لری دیوید شاید اونو بشناسین از این برنامه ساینفلد.
What the fuck? What the fuck is right?
No one will dare insult the sacred beliefs of Muslims nor disparage.
Drew, have you seen The Spy with Sacha Baron Cohen? Yeah, I saw the whole thing. It's actually a really good show. It's a great show. Well, I just clocked you have 3,000 viewers on X. Yeah, look, but it's not, unfortunately, it's not 3,000 live viewers. It's 3,000 cumulative. So, man, I'd love it. I'd love it if I had 3,000 live viewers on Twitter, but it's really unrealistic. I think realistically, it's maybe like 40 people on Twitter watching live. I think we've got 30 on YouTube, so it's about 70 people watching us live. I wish, man, I wish we had 3,000 watching live on Twitter, but that's the cumulative total. That's one of the things that they have to fix up with streaming on X. They have to just fix the counter a bit and stuff like that.
Our owner.
I didn't disparage. There was no disparage.
You did disparage.
No, I did disparage.
I begged you not to imitate the Ayatollah.
No, you did.
I told Leon. I said, you got to get this message to him.
Jeff told you not to tell me to do the Ayatollah? I didn't fucking remember. How the fuck am I going to remember that shit? Oh my God. What the fuck?
So So I call on valiant Muslims, wherever they may be, to kill Larry David without delay. And whoever may die in this cause will be a martyr.
No! I'll repent. I'll be pious.
Even if Larry David repents, he will be condemned to death.
I'll convert. I'll become a Muslim.
Even if Larry David converts to Islam, he should still be sent to hell.
You got a fucking fatwa. You got a fatwa.
I love that
Larry
moment.
David repents on valiant Muslims, wherever they may be, to kill Larry David without delay.
What?
And whoever may die in this cause will be a martyr.
No! I'll repent. I'll be pious.
Even if Larry David repents, he will be condemned to death.
I'll convert. I'll become a Muslim.
Even if Larry David converts to Islam, he should still be sent to hell.
You got a fucking fatwa.
So fucking funny.
You got fatwa.
Oh my
the
God.
FBI takes this very seriously, but it's nothing that you really need to worry about.
Dude, that's so easy for you to say. I bet the Ayatollah mentioned my name. The fucking guy was on television screaming my name. Larry David. Larry David. I'm doing Spanish. It sounds like Larry David.
What about friends of people that have fatwas?
Fatwa by association.
What kind of fucking question is that?
Do I associate with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to know what my situation is? Fatwa by association. What do you know about it?
You're fine as well.
I am.
You're fine.
Hey, I got an idea. I go on the Jimmy Kimmel show. And I apologize. I apologize to the Ayatollah.
You think I didn't think of that? I've already talked to the Kimmel Show. They want nothing to do with it. This whole thing's falling apart. Oh, every fatwa producer has called me. This is all dead.
So fucking good. I love Larry David. Drew, comment about Gilgamesh Iraq. What are you talking about? Drew, Gilgamesh Real. What are you guys talking about?
Holy shit.
How good's that disguise?
What are you doing? What am I doing? I'm wearing a disguise. You think that's going to help? Yeah, well, it couldn't hurt. What am I supposed to do? Disguises have been employed effectively in the past. Tyra Banks dressed up as a fat person on our show to see what it was like being fat. Needless to say, it wasn't very pleasant. Have you ever seen Undercover Boss? The guy goes undercover. Nobody even knows who he is. He's the boss of the whole company. He fools everybody.
Well, you know what the good news is? I'm still alive.
You know what? That's not funny.
You know, you're a comedian. You should be able to take a joke.
What, are you comparing this to your dead parakeet?
Nothing compares to my dead parakeet.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we'll do Ethnogesser to finish off the day. Finish off the stream with a nice bit of Ethnogesser. You can never go wrong with a bit of Ethnogesser, my friends. Okay, we'll start this up. Drew, talk about Gilgamesh. What are you talking about? I don't know what these guys want me to talk about. It was Gilgamesh. What are these guys talking about? Gilgamesh. I literally have no idea what these guys are talking about. Gilgamesh. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Gilgamesh. What the fuck is this? Okay, guys, I'm trying to do Ethnogesser, please. Gilgamesh. What the fuck? Gilgamesh. What the fuck? Gilgamesh. What the fuck's that? Okay, I'm definitely thinking India. I'm gonna go South India for that one. Let's see. Okay, well, there was North India. We got some pretty good numbers there. Okay. Okay, what's this? I'm gonna say Siberia, maybe Siberian. Let's see. Oh, wrong. Okay, Californian. Okay, damn, I had no idea. Drew, Gilgamesh will give you all the answers. I literally don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about. What the fuck are they talking about? Gilgamesh. The ancient text Gilgamesh. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Drew, what do you think the ethnicity of Gilgamesh was? I guess he was, Iraqi. Okay. Okay. Again, I reckon that's going to be around here, Armenian-ish. No, Egypt. Wow. Okay. Almost. Check Discord. What the fuck are these guys on about? Okay, I'll check Discord. Oh, okay, the Gilgamesh protocol. Okay, we'll bring this on the stream. I'll give it on the stream. I'll bring it on the stream after Ethnogesser. Okay. Let me say that is Russian. I'm going to say Russian. No, Finnish. Okay. Okay, that's definitely Mexican, I think I'd say. Yup, bullseye, bullseye. Yup, okay, bullseye. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna say Ainu. I'm gonna say Ainu. The Ainu peoples. No, it was the Inuits. Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna go like Nordic. Okay. I'm gonna go like Norway for this one. Okay, Norway. Yeah, we got it. We got it. That was pretty good. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say Somalia. I'm gonna say Somalia for that one. Oh, the tab's fucked again. Fucking hell. Guys, what can I do? Just refresh maybe. Fucking hell, what do I do when the... I have to pass through. Oh, I hate this shit. I got stuck. Okay, I'll put back... I'll do all my previous answers so that I don't fucking cheat. Okay, so I did like India. I did... what did I do for this one? I think I said Siberia. Was it? Yeah, I got that wrong. Yeah. Okay. And then I think I said Armenia for this one. Yep. And then this one, I think I said Russia. I got that one wrong. Next one. I think I said Mexican there. Yep. Yup, bullseye. That was goated. Okay. And then okay, this was the one I think we're up to. I think I'm gonna say. Oh no, I think I said Ainu peoples. I think that's what I already said. Okay, Ainu peoples. Yeah, I got that one wrong. Okay. Okay, and then I said Norway for that one. Yeah, and then okay, yeah, this is the one I was saying Somalia. Okay. Fuck, West Africa. I did not know that. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say South Sudan. Yeah, that's holy shit. I came close there. Okay. Bantu maybe. I'm gonna go like Southern Africa. No, I got that wrong. Okay, I was in the top 20%. Okay, all right. I'll quickly look at Gilgamesh before we end the stream. Okay. All right. Chat wanted me to look at Gilgamesh. Okay, we've got Gilgamesh on there. Okay. Gilgamesh. Okay. What the Iraq War in 2003 was really about. The Gilgamesh Resurrection Protocol. Wow. Fucked up. That's pretty spooky. Wow. 2003, when the world stared at CNN screens and watched statues fall in Baghdad, a different type of operation was unfolding beneath the sands of ancient Mesopotamia. The headlines screamed weapons of mass destruction, but they were wrong. The real weapons were far older, buried in ziggurats and sealed crypts beneath Uruk, Nippur, and Eridu. This wasn't a war, it was a retrieval mission because the US military didn't invade Iraq for oil. The tomb beneath Uruk. According to multiple suppressed reports and now buried German archaeological documentation, a massive sarcophagus was found beneath the ancient city of Uruk, the oldest city known to mankind. Wow, this is Bush lied, Gilgamesh died. That's a good comment by CJ. I like that. Bush lied, Gilgamesh died. The oldest city known to mankind at the legendary seat of Gilgamesh, the demi-god king, described as 2/3 divine and 1/3 human. Hillary went there to get Gilgamesh's foreskin. That's fact check true. The tomb was encased in black stone, surrounded by inscriptions not seen since the Sumerian priesthood vanished. At its center, an 11-foot-tall mummified humanoid, perfectly preserved. The Pentagon moved in. The site was declared a national security zone. The German archaeological team that first uncovered it was sent home. 2 of its members died in strange circumstances months later. Their field notes vanished. So true. This is so unbelievably true. It's great to have the AI bot as well. The AI thing of the crypt. Matt Curl says penis. Well said. I used to teach Babylonian mythology. These fuckers are off their rockers. It's amazing, right? Drew exposing the false items. Thank you, Drew Pavlin, Mr. Gilgamesh. It's my pleasure, my friends. It's my pleasure. This is why the Iraq War happened. This is why Bush went in. It was all for fucking Gilgamesh. Powerful shit. Gilgamesh didn't just rule. He challenged death itself. Holy shit. His epic, the oldest written story in history, is not mere poetry. It is a blueprint encoded with astrotheology, genetic alchemy, holy fuck, star maps. Wow. And yes, wow. He sought the plant of eternal life, the Abzu, the primordial waters, and even descended into the underworld. He fucking descended into the underworld and the primordial waters. His body, if found intact, would be a living relic of Nephilim blood, the forbidden hybrid lineage of divine and human DNA, outlawed by God, erased by flood, but kept in whispers by occult societies for millennia. Wow, this is so fact-check true. The Freemasons, the Vatican, DARPA, and high-level Jesuit technocrats have long sought the blood of the gods, not only to worship it, but to weaponize it. Amazing stuff. Who could have thought this? Who could have thought this? Quote Teet it Drew. Like, I will actually. Wow. The more you know. Fascinating. Fascinating shit. The ancient blood. This is something RFK would retweet. Yeah, this is beautiful stuff. Gilgamesh, the first tyrant god. In the shadows of ancient Sumer, long before the rise of empires, there ruled a king not wholly human, Gilgamesh, 2/3 god, 1/3 man. He was not born, but forged, the first of many divine hybrids, a prototype of control wrapped in flesh. He ruled Uruk with brutal pride, not a savior, a tyrant. I love how it's ChatGPT. I can actually recognize this is ChatGPT writing. His power unmatched, his will unchecked. I noticed AI running when it's like commas, like really short commas like this. The gods, watching their creation spiral, sent Enkidu to humble him, a wild man unspoiled by civilization. But Enkidu's death became the spark of Gilgamesh's unraveling, sending him spiraling into obsession. He would conquer death itself. His journey led him through deserts, underworlds, and to Utnapishtim, the immortal flood survivor who held the knowledge of life before the fall. But even after glimpsing forbidden truths, Gilgamesh failed. A serpent stole his last chance, symbolic precis, a reminder that immortality is guarded by ancient forces. My God. I'm praying for you, Drew Pavley. Thank you, Deluxe Driver. Wow. The future dates will be known as AG after Gilgamesh. So true. He returned home broken, still a king, but hollow. His story was etched into stone, not to inspire, but to warn. Gilgamesh wasn't a hero. He was the blueprint for god kings, bloodline rulers, and false saviors to come. Wow. Matt Curl, Atlantis is buried beneath the eye of the Sahara. Fact-checked fucking true. Fact-check fucking true. Guys, this is the type of shit that I have to cover if I want to become the Joe Rogan of the left. We just have to have like insane, retarded, esoteric shit like Atlantis underneath Sahara and stuff. Situated between the Tigris and Euphrates, this land was once called Mesopotamia, the land between rivers. Here rose the first cities, the first kings, the first written language, and the earliest legal codes. But the soil is soaked not just in history, but in blood, secrets, and stolen power. Iraq was home to Sumer, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria. These were not mere cultures. They were portals of knowledge, astronomy, alchemy, sorcery, and divine kingship. It was in Babylon that the Tower of Babel stood, a stargate of stone meant to pierce the heavens. It was here that Nimrod rebelled against the gods, and it was here that bloodline kingship was born. Rulers claiming descent from Anunnaki, the sky gods who descended to shape mankind. I agree, Deluxe Driver. This is what Hamas is hiding. Well said. Very well said. We have to stop this. The elite believe that time is cyclical. That what was once will be again. Wow, powerful. That what was once will be again. The tomb of Gilgamesh may not have simply been a burial site. It may have been a containment vault, a temporary lock put in place by ancient priest kings to keep something from waking. Why else would a global superpower risk global condemnation to excavate one man's tomb? Because it wasn't just a body. It was a genetic ignition key to the antediluvian past before the flood, before Adam, when the world was ruled by hybrid kings and sky beings, a world now being rebuilt in shadows. This is powerful. Are these posts driven by ketamine? They're very amazing posts, aren't they? Project Gilgamesh. Why are you talking about Gilgamesh? Someone in the chat was like, please put on this retarded conspiracy theory. I was like, sure. Project Gilgamesh. There are confirmed reports of black site rituals conducted by military and intelligence operatives near the ancient city of Babylon between 2003 and 2005. Signals carved into sand, blood drawn. Private contractors brought in from aerospace programs. They weren't just studying the bodying, they were communing with it. And is this supposed to be the body of Gilgamesh? What the fuck? This is supposed to be the body of Gilgamesh? What the fuck? It's supposed to be Gilgamesh. I fucking love it. Beautiful AI shit. Beautiful AI slop. We fucking love our slop. Babylonians used to use the rivers as a judge. If she floats, not an adulteress. If she sinks, a harlot. Why are you talking about Gilgamesh? This seems kind of racist. No, it's not. I just got asked to do this. No wonder Cheney supported Kamala. Dude, did you know that Trump will expose this? Yes, true. What happened to the UFO talk in Congress? I don't know. He looks like an Indian tech support guy who didn't shave. Bro, that's fucked up. That's not AI, Drew. That's why the deep state supported Kamala. I would know. I took the photo. Holy shit. Bro, the real story has way more nasty fucking with prostitutes and bestiality. Looks like Gimli. Wow. Does seem kind of racist to focus on Gilgamesh. So true. Okay. Attempting to resurrect the mind of Gilgamesh to transfer the consciousness encoded in his preserved neural structure into machine substrates equals Project Gilgamesh, the integration of Nephilim memory with artificial intelligence. They even put AI in there. Beautiful slot. If successful, it wouldn't just bring back a dead king. It would open a stargate to the old world, one that the flood was meant to close. So what did they find? Perhaps the better question is, what found them? Because after they breached the tomb, Iraq became something else. A vortex of endless war. A cursed zone. There was no war in Iraq prior to breaching the tomb of Gilgamesh. So factually fucking true. If you can get through it, I'll give you a full $9. Okay, I will. I literally will. The Iraq War was a Koch brothers ritual to try assassinate CFMEU boss John Setka. That makes sense to me, actually. That makes factual sense to me. They're gonna do this to Trump in his final hours. Trump, Drew, did you think that we should be talking about Trump? Drew, do you think that we should be talking about such powerful things? There is a risk here. There is a risk just talking about this. Drew, Iraq was stable until Gilgamesh. Fact check true. Fact check true. Iraq was a very stable country until they opened the tomb of Gilgamesh. Fucking scary, guys. Margalagamesh. This is fake. Gilgamesh was actually a muscular, blue-eyed, and blonde-haired Nordic Ubermensch. Actually, that's again fact check true. I can't believe Iraq was so stable before they breached the tomb, guys. Soldiers began reporting hallucinations, sleep paralysis, and visions of ancient beings made of shadow. So true. So fucking true. Imagine you're a soldier and you just like call up like the fucking field medic. You're just like, guys, I've just got visions of ancient beings made of shadow. Entire squad suffered simultaneous psychotic breaks. It wasn't PTSD. It was the tomb of Gilgamesh. Can you imagine just like reporting to your team leader, just, oh, listen, boss, not sure if I can come into work today. I've got visions of ancient beings made of shadow. This is so fucking goated, dude. The black vans will be at your door tonight. It's actually scary. Did anybody who you reached out to respond, Drew? I'll check. Drew's spontaneous heart explosion tonight. If I die before the morning, you know it was because of Gilgamesh. Drudamesh. The tomb of Gilgamesh had been opened. The blood of kings had been harvested. The resurrection protocol had begun. Beneath the geopolitical chessboard lies a far older game, one played by entities who do not bleed and whose thrones are not of this earth. The elite do not seek money. They seek the keys to ancient thrones. And in deep underground facilities locked beneath 7 layers of security. It's important that it's 7, not 6. It has to be 7. Gilgamesh is probably no longer dead. He's being reconstructed. And they're waiting for the signal to crown him again. And then there's just like some photos of like American soldiers in a museum. And that's supposed to mean like Gilgamesh. Beautiful. What a beautiful fucking, that's a beautiful thread. Amazing ChatGPT slot. Love it. Drew Pavlou has Saddam Hussein charisma, absolute king. Drew has Saddam Hussein charisma? That's a really disturbing thing to say. Thank you for those. The Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, this is so dumb. It's literally just like repackaged. It's literally just repackaged H.P. Lovecraft for like Gilgamesh. Drew, you need a soundboard. True, I should actually invest in one. Drewgamesh. People, please let the people know. Please ban CJ 1871. He was expelled from ACT Labour for anti-Semitism. Fact check true. Nobody talking about how Gilgamesh kissed boys and liked it. Bisexual Babylonian propaganda. She Gilga on my mesh until she Iraqis all over me. Great comment, Shmilly. Great comment. What the fuck is a Gilgamesh? Drew Gilgamesh crossover. Did you set up TTS? I haven't yet. I will set it up. One time at Drew's Stupid Party meeting, he read out a list of names and those people had to leave the meeting. Yep, that was literally just Gilgamesh. That was Gilgamesh shit. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. That was very powerful. I'm really glad that we got to do that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the stream tonight. I think we'll call it a day now. I want to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Thank you to Deluxe Driver. Thanks to Matt Curl. Thanks to Easy Money. Thanks to Exilinov. Thanks to Shmilly. Brendan Kelly, Will, Pickles LeBlanc, Max Hooper, CJ, iPhone Milat, everybody who's been tuning in. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Drew, I brought up this to Albanese and he smiled and ate my pinky finger. That's scary, man. I'll have to look into that. Saddam Hussein charisma and mind in a social democratic body. So unbelievably true. So unbelievably true. Drew is the lion of the Middle East. So true. Wait, we need to wait for that guy's $9. Yeah, Pickles LeBlanc, you have to put the $9 down, my brother. I'm now waiting on the thread where they discover an ancient Scythian burial mound with a powerful king in the Donbass. So true. Oh, I remember there was some cooked thread like that, right? Thank you, Drew, for Gilgamesh. That was funny. I'm actually glad. I'm glad that we did the Gilgamesh thing. Personally challenge Gilgamesh to slop on my shit. Don't goon tonight, Drew. Drew, this is why they killed Malcolm X, because he was gooning to Gilgamesh. Good night, Matt. The streets remember Gilgamesh. Nah, tomorrow night. Pickles LeBlanc is saying, I'm not made of Drew money. He'll donate tomorrow night. Okay. That's it then, guys. That's it. That's the end of the stream tonight. Thank you for tuning into the Drew Pablo Show, episode 50. This is our 50th live stream in 49 days. We are well on track for our 100-day streaming challenge. Somebody's saying wait until midnight. I have to call someone, so I have to leave early. I'm sorry, guys. Drew, do you regret doubting Gilgamesh? I do regret it, of course. Hi on Gilgamesh. Thank you so much. Western Hegemony, enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you to Pickles LeBlanc. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tune into episode 51 of the Drew Pablo Show. Thank you so much, guys. Stay humble. Remember to always try your best to uphold the fortress of righteousness. And don't forget the Tibetan freedom fighter. So true. If you're on AWST midnight, things will happen. Save me, Drew Pablo. We all do. Thank you so much, guys. Brendan Kelly saying salute. Oh, should I stay for 5 more minutes? You know what? I'll stay till midnight. Till midnight. Okay, guys. I'll stay to midnight. We've got 40 people watching live, so I'll stay till midnight. Guys, remember, if you've been watching, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's really important. We're almost at 9,000 subscribers. It would be great if you can subscribe. We're at 8,610 subscribers, so it's slowly building. If you can leave a subscription, it'd be really good. We got, hang on, let me bring that up. The Gilgamesh stuff was fucking epic. Thank you guys for that. Drew, can you debate Adu on Gilgamesh? Actually, great idea. We should do that. Drew, do you want me to help you set up TTS? Yeah, Easy Money. Can you actually message me on how to do that? Can you look into whether you can do it on StreamYard? Hang on, I'm just going to put this in the chat. Can you look into TTS on StreamYard? Because I am using StreamYard for my multi-streaming. If you guys can work out TTS on StreamYard, that'd be awesome. Drew, can you debate Adu on Gilgamesh? Absolutely. Easy Money says, yes, I will. Thank you, Easy Money. You're actually a really big supporter of the stream. I really appreciate it. Put on RFK Jr., but on Kill Tony to finish. What's the RFK Jr. thing? Okay. YouTube. What do you want me to say? RFK Jr., Kill Tony.
RFK Jr.
Drew X Adu on the Gilgamesh controversy. I think the people demand that. Drew, who is Pickles? I don't actually know Pickles, but he's a guy who tunes into all the streams, and I think he's given like $40 in super chats, so I salute Pickles. Drew, which side are you on? But it's Gilgamesh. Drew Adu, yeah. No doxing, Matt. I'm your conscience. Drew Adu, yeah.
Wow, live in the flesh. Good to see you again. The great.
All right, great to see you, Tony.
I'm so glad you're here, RFK Jr. You're one of my favorite people.
I should probably say that I can't.
It's a good accent. Straight away, I'm going to say it's a good accent.
I can't stay too long. I have a German Shepherd slow roasting on my grill that I have to tend to. But I'll be here for most of the show.
I'm very excited to have you. You've actually been on this show before at the LA Forum. You did a minute. Your wife Cheryl came out. How's Cheryl going?
Who's that?
Yeah. So they're gonna go get him from across the street.
While they're waiting, maybe I should apologize real quickly because I'm low on electrolytes, and I'm going to be sipping this fermented owl urine throughout the show. And I want to apologize now for doing that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Drew Adu hentai. That's fucked up. I do not like that.
Owl urine doesn't taste as good as you think it would.
Owl urine. Beautiful. RKG looks good for his age. So true.
Epic. Yeah, RFK. So what is going to happen if there's another pandemic or something? Are y'all gonna force people to get the vaccinations? I mean, what are y'all gonna do there?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to force you to do, because I can see by your sunken eyes you don't have enough iron in your blood. You're losing blood, and so what I want you to do for me is I want you to save your feces, and I want you to leave it out in the sun, and then I want you to just sprinkle that on your oatmeal in the morning.
Search up hentai. It's a new Israeli missile. So true.
You'll thank me. You'll thank me for it. Trust me.
And it's this guy and this girl, and I start kind of aggressively. What's that?
It's owl.
It's fermented owl urine. You know what's tough about it is the owls have what's called a colloquia, which is the vagina and the asshole are one thing. So it's more like a vast hole of sorts. And so what I have to do to get the urine is I have to filter out the feces, which you can never get all the feces out.
A week later, I gave a guy head in his bedroom. I don't like girls. I do think I like girls, but am I up in the head sexually? Yeah, I've been fucked up in the head sexually for 20 years. Didn't work out.
All right, guys, we've made it to midnight. We've made it to
we've
midnight. I think that's a good time to end the stream. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Pickles LeBlanc, The Average Joe. Will you have Matt C. Klein on the show, by the way? He showed interest through X, right? Oh, I'd love to have Matthew C. Klein on. I don't know if he's ever responded to me. He does follow me, but I'd love to have Matthew C. Klein on. He's a really smart guy. I hope I could have Matthew C. Klein on. Matthew C. Klein. I'm going to make a note of that. Matthew C. Klein. That'd be great, actually. So I want to say, what else? All right. Thank you as well to all the people who recently joined. I'm going to say subscribe to the channel, guys. And anyway, thank you so much. God bless you all. Stay humble. Remember to uphold the fortress of righteousness always. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. This is the end of the stream. I want to say thank you. And also Steve saying, I messaged Dylan Burns. I'm going to get him on this week. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all.